people saw all of that anyways. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I thought I was in studio mode. Yeah,
It's
okay, they can hear us. Hey, everyone. How's it going? I'm a mess. Oh, shit,
Yeah,
I'm
and then
blowing it.
they threw the boy on the river. Oh, wait, what? Oh, shit, they can hear us.
Yeah. Oh, all right. How's it going, everyone? Sorry. I was hit by, I don't know.
Mike was hit by a truck, apparently.
Yeah, I am fucked up.
He lived an entire life.
Yeah, right after the bombcast, I felt terrible, and then I tried to take a nap, and sleep paralysis killed me. So, I just finished all my COVID pills, and maybe my body is real weird about it, or I don't know. Maybe I just have long COVID forever, and I'm dying. I don't know, but I feel.
You can just get more pills. Just get random pills and take.
Where will I ever get pills from? JK.
JK, I know exactly where I get my pills from. I'm not even remotely lined up.
Yeah, you were for a second. Now I gotta fix it. Let's see. All right, here we go.
Do this. Did you uncheck the?
There we go. Okay. That's good. Yeah. And then what else do I need to do? News. Yeah, sorry. Just I don't think there's much news aside from that.
I'm putting the one story in that I want to
thing.
Talk about. It's barely even related to Nintendo.
Yeah. Might be a weird one today, everybody. I don't know if you could tell yet. But surprise.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Tweeting, I feel weird and now I'm podcasting. All right, it's great.
Let's go.
I don't know if you know this about me. I hate being late. It makes me I get real off kilter when I'm late to something. I start getting real weird about it.
Too.
I hate being late so much. And I have, people, there's people in your life who are always late. I criticize them heavily to their face all the time. It's one of my great joys. Hey, Jeff, did you, I guess I can't say, how's it going? You having fun? Yeah. All right, I gotta open up music.
It's, yeah, do you have that music? Do you want me to?
I have it.
All right.
Yes, Jeff, I'm glad you can see the irony.
Oh, Jeff must have given me COVID. Must be his fault. He hates me. I podcast with I'm glad you're having fun. Where is this? Podcast songs. Okay, you guys aren't going to hear this, but let me... Chat should. Let's see.
Hey, you guys hear me?
Cool. All right. I guess we can get going
it's 9:10.
then.
It reminds me of something, but not quite. All right.
Oh, great.
Should do a countdown.
Yeah, I'll do a countdown.
And
then I'll just come in when it's time. Penny, please, no. Come on, Penny. You want to bark?
Penny, get the program.
You want to bark?
Hey, shut up, Penny. There we go.
You want to bark, buddy? Don't you talk to my dog like that. Penny, shut up, you piece of shit. All right, it's great. And 5, 4.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now! Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
Woof, woof. Hi, I'm Mike Minotti, and I am a Nintendog.
Hi, I'm Sean McDowell, and I am a Nintendog.
And we are the last of the Nintendogs. Today, hey, are you worrying about the price of the Switch 2 yet? Because we're going to talk about that. It's going to be fantastic. Sean, I've already podcasted with you for a few hours earlier. It was a good time on the Bombcast today. But how are you doing since then?
I've been so busy, Mike. I've been so damn busy. I'd, edit the Bombcast, post the Bombcast, make dinner, take a shower, and then sit down here to do another podcast. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
There you go. Yeah, people watching live, though, I became a mess right after the Bombcast for some reason. I don't know. I think it's because, at least my father, who you may have heard as a doctor, was saying, something about being done with the pills might be messing me up a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, I feel weird as shit. And then I tried to take a nap. I'm like, that'll make me feel better. And it was a very bad nap, real weird dreams and sleep paralysis, and also slept through my alarm and ran here to come back. But we're here. It's happening now. We're woofing. We're woofing like crazy.
All very good things. This is gonna be a great episode, Mike.
It's gonna go just fantastic, everybody. Well, the bright side, Nintendo, as they have been for a while now, really, it's a little bit quiet over there. But not in the industry, because everybody, I don't know if you heard, everybody is losing their minds a bit today because of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Sony,
you don't say.
Yeah, Sony announced their new console, and it's $700, right? That's the thing. It's $700. There's no disc drive. There's no vertical stand even. But it's $700 for a better GPU. Basically for a better GPU, I guess.
Basically for a better GPU and like clever ways around not having the best GPU. Yeah.
For that and pisser. And they threw in ray tracing still somehow. Somehow ray tracing has returned. They talked about that as one of the pillars.
That's something that you and I talked about a while back where you asked me about it. I was like, yeah, they could literally just like add better ray tracing on top of anything else. They can just do that. And yeah, they kind of did that on top of pisser, as we're calling it, their DLSS equivalent, which, DLSS, hey, that's something we might see in the Switch too, so it's relevant to talk about those upscaling methods and everything. But yeah, people are worried more than ever about prices. I wonder why. It's not like, people don't seem to have as much money as they used to or anything, right?
Right, yeah, inflation and all this other stuff. Everyone's feeling that pain, and it seems like it's been impacting the industry in a lot of ways. It seems like people have been a little reserved about buying new games, or at least taking chances on games that aren't immediately in the super zeitgeist. I'm still very curious to see how Astro Bot actually sells. We don't really have much of an indication of that, but there've been some successes, but there've been a lot of disasters this year. But the mid-gen refreshes, look, back when I was a lad, this used to be the excuse to make the discount version of a console. Now, those were back when it was the same console. But even last generation, it was at least like, well, this thing's going to come out. And maybe you can help me remember. Like the PlayStation 4 Pro came out at the old price of the original PlayStation 4, right? Or did it come out more expensive?
Yeah, $400, yes.
Wait,
because it was at that point Xbox One, PS4 were down to $300. PS4 came out at $400. One X was $500.
Oh my god, the PlayStation 4, I haven't even really thought about it. The PlayStation 4 Pro launched at $400. It is actually wild that it is straight up $300 more than that. It's like almost twice as much. And again, no disc drive.
No, which is going to be a thing that people who care about having the high level experience at least want as an option, if nothing else, because it's solid chance it's their Blu-ray player in their media center, right?
Right. Not going to be that. It's just going to be... It's going to be if you want certain games to look better. And that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And there's going to be some overall benefits, but there's like a list of 13 games that are immediately going to have support. It's not going to be everything. It's a lot, and it is so clearly targeted at hardcore PlayStation fans or enthusiasts, more so than the PlayStation 4 Pro. And there was more of a reason for the PS4 Pro. The PS4 base was kind of weak. It was chugging along. And we've been seeing a little bit of that with PlayStation 5 Pro. There's been some, I've talked about frustrations with some games not really looking as good or running as smoothly as I want to. But gosh, one, it doesn't really seem to be that great of an answer to this. Like, we still saw things like Hogwarts Legacy running at 30 FPS in the freaking trailer. And again...
Yeah, that is because, and people can correct me on this because I haven't played Hogwarts Legacy because, well, frankly, fuck that game. But if the game doesn't have separate performance and fidelity modes, if it just has one single mode that runs at 30 FPS, that would be why. Is because they don't have a performance mode to use all the really high quality upscaling on to bring it, have a 60 FPS experience at that higher resolution. So if it's just a 30 FPS game, all they can do is just make that look prettier. So that makes it even less of a good proposition here, you know?
I know some people don't like us kind of bringing up this point about, hey, why not just get into PC gaming? I love consoles, or at least, especially used to love them. I get it. I get the company that I get the ease of use. But to me, kind of the big selling point of consoles, or at least I thought, is that, hey, it's a lot cheaper to get even a really nice console than an equivalent PC and all the other things it could do. And
a trade-off. Like, it might cost you more, or it cost you less upfront to get a console, but maybe a little bit more to get the games in the long run. And PC is a little bit more upfront, but a little bit less to buy the games in time.
And it's that is becoming less and less true, especially when, and like, look, I know it's not literally an upgrade in that, you're buying something that's upgrading your PlayStation 5, but for most people, this is being targeted people who already have PlayStation 5s. It is an upgrade. So now it already feels modular in some kind of way, even though it isn't. And it is just like, man, $700 for a new console. And to be clear, how far away are we from them trying to sell us a PlayStation 6? It's already been 4 years since the PlayStation 5. So how long is this
4
thing?
4 years, man.
Oh boy. So it's like, man, I'm really going to not invest in upgrading my PC or getting a better PC and doing this instead, especially when we are at a point where upgrading your PC feels like that can last you a long time, right? It used to be like, oh, you got this video card, and now that's going to be good for maybe 4 years, 5 years, then you're going to feel the pain again. God, it feels like if you upgrade your PC really nice right now, you are set for a while. In a way, I don't think you're going to necessarily be set if you buy a $700 PlayStation 5 Pro.
Right, and we'll try to stay on this too long, but with a PC, you can also choose what to upgrade if you need to. You can choose what settings to turn down. Like you, Mike, you like higher frame rates with maybe a little less fidelity, so you can turn down things that are, really ragging on the system, that are dragging down your frame rate. You can adjust it how you want. With a console, you take what they give you, and that applies to all the manufacturers, of course, but like with a PlayStation 5 Pro, you're locked into what they give you, and you don't really have much of a choice.
Mark Cerny did say 3 out of 4 PlayStation users choose performance mode, though, so I'm like, okay, good. I'm good. I'm not a weirdo. Everyone is with me.
I do wonder about that, like what I don't know. I don't doubt Mark Cerny, or like, maybe I don't think they got creative with the wording there or anything.
Sure.
But I wonder if it's just like people see performance and they're like, oh yes, I want it to perform well, of course. And it's like the wording is getting people or something. I don't know. I'm kind of curious.
Maybe everyone is actually an FPS freak like me after all. I don't know. But no, maybe
somehow I doubt that.
Somehow I doubt it. But okay, so look, PlayStation 5 Pro, it's a lot of money. We'll see how it does. And I'm, there's as weird as I find it, I'm not ultimately maybe quite as upset about it as I see. If they want to try to sell some real boutique console and see how it goes, I guess we're gonna find out. I am curious to see how it does.
Yeah, that's the conclusion we came to on the Bondcast, all of us together. Like, hey, if this is your thing, more power to you. We're just being critical because we feel like it's not for most people, and that feels like a bit of an odd business strategy right now.
Jeff prioritizes here that Mark Cerny says when given choice, players choose performance mode. Okay, we'll see. People
no shit, Jeff. If there's no performance mode, they can't select a performance mode. What are you talking about? This man's like drunk on an airplane.
Let's bring it back to Nintendo, because that's why I brought all this up, right? Because now everyone's wondering, okay, what is a Switch 2 going to cost? Right. Now that we have re-entered the world, it's been a long time since we talked about a $700 video game console. I think of the 3DO because I'm old. I'm sure there have been other examples. And apparently with inflation, the $600 PlayStation 3 even was more of it back then. But Sean, I'm going to just pass the buck to you right now. Tell me, how much is the Switch 2 going to cost?
I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think more and more 400 is sounding right.
I think that is, yeah. I think that's gotta be where we are heading toward right here. But there's a time where if you told me 500, I would have called you a crazy asshole, right? And to be clear, there were some people when they talked about the $700 PlayStation 5 Pro, right? I remember Emma Fife saying that on Game S Mornings, and I was like, oh, I don't, come on, it's not gonna be that much. And yet here we are. So
I thought they would separate it out a little bit more. I thought they would eat the cost and do like 6 or 650 for digital, and then like 7 or 730 for the disc version. But if they, they're seeing what they can get away with, and all the companies are doing that. They're kind of trying to see what they can get away with, like how little additional value they can give you while getting as much money out of you as possible. And so that's also what Nintendo's going to do, because they are business centric. They are going to try to do this. It's a question of what balance they try to strike.
Yeah, and they're not going to have multiple versions of a Switch 2 at launch, right?
Launch, at least, no.
Have they ever, were there 2 versions of like the Wii U at launch? They usually don't like
2 configurations. Yes, it was storage configurations. Right. And they also like branded it as like the regular and the premium, but all the difference was one was 8 gigabytes, one was 32 gigabytes internal, and then they changed the colors on them because they wanted to make you buy the premium one, the black one that fits into your entertainment center a little bit more. That also had the higher storage.
But like, I don't think they're gonna do like, here's the SSD only version of the Switch 2, and that's the more expensive one. I think there's going to just be a Switch 2.
Yeah, they're not gonna Steam Deck it. No.
Right. So yeah, $400 still sounds right to me, but boy, 500 is suddenly a possibility in today's world. It would still be shocking.
Because you have to keep in mind, like, we're talking about how high can they go, because we're talking about a $700 console that exists as like the baseline for that SKU. But you have to keep in mind the base console right now is $500 with cheaper models on Xbox and PlayStation respectively at $300 and $450. I don't think they're going to get too crazy here, because Nintendo is smarter than people give them credit for a lot of the time. They may seem like they make really weird business decisions, but they know what they're doing a lot of the time. And I think they will look around and say, like, we can't get away with 500 when like people are going to buy a PS5. Like we can try, and like the Switch name will carry a lot of weight, but that's going to be a tough sell for a lot of people. So that's why I think 400.
And it's important to remember that Nintendo has some history here with getting the price wrong. The 3DS did launch at $250, which now, right now, as I say, is like, that's not so bad.
That's not so bad at all. No, and they lowered it to $180, and it's
slashed that price immediately.
Yeah. They were like, this ain't selling, and we need to get them out the door, so we'll do whatever it takes.
Right, and that worked out great, actually. Like the 3DS went on to be a success. It wasn't as big a success as the DS, but it had a completely normal, healthy life cycle, made them a lot of money, had a lot of great games, and so it was like, okay, so you always could have gotten away with 180 is kind of the thing there. So it's a very delicate dance, and I think that's one of the things that's definitely not even settled at this point, right? That is something they are still talking about, probably over there, figuring out what they can get away with. I wonder how much they care about what Sony's doing. I wonder if the fact that, again, that there is a $700 video game system that's going to be on the market emboldens them in any way. I don't know. Nintendo's sometimes...
I don't think that's going to play a huge factor in it. I think it's going to inform their decision, like all things do with all these businesses, but I don't think so.
Right.
I don't know. I'm kind of looking at what people in chat are saying, and I think most people are settling around 400 or like maybe 450. And I don't know. I just think 400 sounds like the sweet spot. Someone pointed out that the Switch OLED currently sits at 350, and they can't see them just adding $50 to get the next generation Switch. To which I would say the Switch and the Switch OLED do not need to be the prices they are right now. They could easily bring those down and still be perfectly okay and still make a profit on them, even if the profit margin is smaller. but Nintendo loves their profit margins. And so that's why you still have the base Switch at 300, because that's what they can get away with. They don't need to lower it because it's selling like hotcakes. And they just like made the OLED $50 more to get as much money out of people as possible. Like I talked about a little bit there earlier, like trying to see how much they can get away with. So I think 400 for a next gen Switch, maybe 450, but I personally think 400 is what they'll try to go for, because I think that's like equilibrium. Nintendo doesn't like losing money on hardware, and they are under new management now, but that's what they've said historically for a very long time. Nintendo does not like losing money on hardware. They always like, at the very least, like making a small profit on it, because then you will constantly make profit as those parts get cheaper to produce, as the consoles get cheaper to manufacture. So I do think that they're gonna stay on that track of like, starting the generation, maybe making minimal profit margins, but then turns into something really big.
It's just kind of blowing my mind. Again, it makes me feel old, but like just how different it is. Right, like the GameCube launch price. The launch price for a Nintendo GameCube was $200.
Yeah.
Right. Like, man, and like and it's not like today where like, and it was 200 forever. No, that price dropped. Right.
It dropped hard. Yeah. Like pretty quickly. You had the Christmas bundle for $100, $100 for a current gen system that was putting out really good graphics, mind you. So
yeah, and even then, it's
a
like
long way since then.
Right, it was super cheap and affordable. It was a great system. And it's like, we'll sell 30 million copies of it or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just wild. It used to be just kind of like standard procedure. Oh, you lose money on the console and the price goes down over time, and that is not the world we live in anymore.
Right, because you just can't run the business like that anymore, because people are buying console games across the board less and less. Nintendo is basically the exception to the rule, but even then, they're not constantly pumping out the like 10 million plus sellers. They have plenty of titles they're doing, 2 or 3 million, like very comfortable, very solid, but everyone is cutting back in terms of console purchases. And so I think even if Nintendo is fairly exempt from that right now, I think maybe they're keeping that in mind. Like they need to play things smart. They need to play things safe in order to keep this momentum going into the next gen.
It seemed to me like, the common thinking used to be, well, it's just, hey, just get consoles out there because then people buy games.
Right.
So it's okay if you lose some money on it. And I guess part of me is like, well, why isn't that true anymore? If the problem is, well, because people aren't buying enough consoles, so we have to make some money off of them. Well, just making it more and more expensive is eventually just going to exacerbate that problem. Yeah. And I'm worried we're backing ourselves into a corner a little bit here.
Yeah, it's a little chicken and egg, because the consoles are going up in price because that's what's costing to make more and more powerful consoles. Like parts are going up in price gradually as well. It's just getting more difficult to make these things, no matter what form they may take. Like speaking of the Steam Deck, that's something that Gabe talked about. He was like, having a $400 Steam Deck, what do you say? It hurt to get at that price or something like that. So clearly they were taking a loss putting that out at 400, and it's not even like that incredible of a device. It's solid for $400. Don't get me wrong. It's especially for a handheld, but they were clearly, losing some money there just to get you on Steam and buying all your games on Steam. So it's not very viable anymore to rely on the hardware pushing everything else when everyone has a piece of hardware in their pocket right now, or already sitting under their TV that they see as good enough to play the games they want to play, your Fortnites and whatnot.
And, I think the average amount of games the average console buyer gets is also a problem. I mean, you can have, entire PlayStation 5 users now who buy 0 video games, technically, right? Because they can just play free-to-play stuff, and they're generating money and whatnot.
That's a very good point. Yeah, more than ever, we have free-to-play to look at, as the console manufacturers can't make as much money on that as they would. They're certainly making money off the microtransactions, and off the whales, they're making a ton of money. That's why they're courting games like, PlayStation wanting MiHoYo games on their platform and stuff like that, because, people spend a lot of money on Genshin. Not everybody, but those whales do. and so they want that, but the average user is not, and so you can't rely on just the whales carrying you forever. That's a good point. Sort of makes me think of the Wii. How you look at the Wii as like a incredible system. It sold so many. It had a terrible attach rate. Like people were not buying software for that thing because they would buy it, they would play the included game Wii Sports because that's what they bought for, and maybe buy Just Dance, and that was kind of it.
That or carnival games, right? Exactly. They
Like,
weren't buying Wario Land, Shake It, or Punch Out.
Yeah, like nearly every Wii in the world was a Wii Sports machine that you also bought like Mario Kart for or something. You know, you bought like one or two other games, but yeah.
Also, it's a bad system. Sorry, I'm really down on the Wii these days. I gotta play some fucking Alone in the Dark tomorrow.
Maybe my least favorite, like, you know, primary Nintendo console.
Oh yeah, let's fucking go. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we take a quick break? We got some super chats. We're going to read through those. We also have a mailbag to get to. We'll be right back, everybody.
Yeah, sure. It's better than the Wii U for sure. Everybody knows that.
The Wii U rules, dude. That's a good system.
Fucking shit. Yeah, Zombie U was fucking the great.
Zombie U. All right. I'm ready to just go.
Yeah.
Whoa.
All
right.
Do you want to read the super chats, Sean? Oh, you're good.
I can pull them up. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Give me 1 second.
Take your time.
Sorry.
Let me know.
My OBS took a shit.
Yeah, that's impressive. Because it doesn't consume any food or have a digestive system.
All right. This
guy.
All right.
Okay, just stitch it back. All right. Let's do it.
All right, Sean, we're back. Let's see what the super chats have to say.
You got it. First one here is from Postman Dan, who says, "Here's your beef and shed money back into the video editing hole." We had our first 8 static chip tune show in 7 years here in Philly. Oh, must be a band. And is sold out. Excited for the future of Philly chiptune and 8 static.
Oh, congratulations. All right, then. I'm going to look at that.
Just based on what what you're saying here with chiptune concert or whatever, that sounds awesome because I love chiptune music.
I think Arby's might have saved my life today, actually, because yeah, part of me not feeling well was like, again, like right after the podcast, and I was like in a virtual game preview, so I was kind of stuck on my computer. I suddenly felt incredibly hungry and kind of like faint, like some kind of weird, I don't know, it was like some low blood sugar thing or something. I was like, this isn't good. So I had these rice cakes, these white cheddar rice cakes. I was just like eating them, I think to stay conscious. My vision started blurring. Again, I felt real weird. And then like, okay, rice cakes, that'll keep me alive for now, maybe. But as soon as I can, I gotta get to Arby's and eat something. So it's like I ducked out of the thing like a little bit early. I felt really bad. I was like, well, I gotta go. I'm not gonna elaborate why. Didn't want to tell them. I think I need to save my life at Arby's. But then I got over there. I didn't even go for roast beef sandwich. I went straight to the chicken, bacon, and Swiss. I needed a big boy meal today. Just when I got a roast beef slider, because you have to have a little roast beef when you're at Arby's. It's bad luck if you don't. And God, did that feel good going down. That was nice. So that felt better. I went home and took a nap. When I like disrobed to go into bed, I almost fell over, which I thought was a bad sign also. I think I almost hurt myself badly. So then I laid in bed and my feet hurt a lot, I think because of when I almost fell over. And then the sleep paralysis demons started attacking. And then I woke up at 9. I was like, oh shit, the podcast. And then while I was still in bed, that's when I joined the Discord thing and called you, and I started screaming about how I'm a piece of shit. And here I am.
Glad you're doing better now.
I'm doing great.
What is your life, Mike Minotti?
I don't know what's going on anymore. Here I am. Rock me like a hurricane.
Anyways, thanks for the super chat, Postman.
Thank you. Hooray for chiptune.
From Big Fresh 37, there's really no sweet tooth bot in this effing game. Really, no sweet tooth, huh? No. Is there a Twisted Metal representative at all in Astrobot?
Man, so I don't have all of them yet. And I always want to be careful because, like, I know some people are excited to see all butts, but like, yeah, I don't think there's anything about Twisted Metal in that series.
They put a shit ass fucking reference to like motorcycle games that nobody likes, and they're gonna put a Twisted
Well, it's a
Metal
PS4 game. That's
Twisted
something you
Metal.
can play nowadays. So.
That is weird. And again, like, maybe DLC's coming. I think some people are talking about it. I heard like there's no Square Enix stuff in the game, so that's weird.
Yeah.
And there are some characters mentioned in like the credits that aren't there that must be coming in DLC, including some Ubisoft stuff. But yeah, that's strange that there's no Twisted Metal, because pretty much any reasonably important like first party PlayStation thing is there. And I know it's been a while since Twisted Metal, but there's been a lot of Twisted Metal in the past, and there was that show not too long ago.
That's right.
Yeah, so that is probably the weirdest omission so far that I can think of is no Sweet Tooth, if that's right.
Huh. Yeah, that is odd. Interesting. From Screaming Madden, which indie game releasing next week do you all think will score higher on OpenCritic? The Plucky Squire or UFO 50? Are you asking for advice for a certain game, Screaming Madden?
Well, I had Plucky Squire on at least the Giant Bomb Fantasy Critic since we drafted, so I've been high on it. It seems everything I think I hear good things, so I think Plucky Squire is going to do pretty well personally, or maybe I'm just kind of janifesting that into existence. Like how I just say janifesting instead of manifesting. It makes no sense. Jan is not involved in this equation whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, look, dude, it's just
Jan's
a
world.
good term.
It's just Jan's world.
Well, it's Jan's world. We're living in it. Yeah, that too.
I don't know. I know about the UFO game and what it's going for. I guess I don't actually know just what the prospect is there. Are people that high on it? I don't know. I bet it'll do well, but I bet Plucky Squire's going to. I think Plucky Squire's going to do better.
All right. Next up is from Oyasumi Mex. High prices and an adorable robot platformer by Sony all in 1 week. Clearly a sign from the world to buy an original GameCube copy of Chibi Robo.
I do have my copy Chibi Robo that I have not played yet. I want to get to that.
That game rules. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet I'm going to like it a lot. It seems right up my alley.
Big Dreamcast energy from Chibi Robo. Dreamcast turned 25 yesterday. Thought I'd bring that up. Like, yeah, there's a lot of that arcade at home feel to Chibi Robo.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. I played a lot of Dreamcast yesterday. I plugged in my original console, which is disgusting, by the way. For some reason, the Dreamcast is way dirtier and more yellow than any of my other old ones. Like I had to clean it. Like I have some old consoles. I'll have to dust them off and stuff. I gave the Dreamcast a deep cleaning.
They go to hell real fast. That plastic was not designed to last, man. The white plastics on those systems back then, they do not hold up.
There's another console that one launched pretty cheap. I think just $200, and by the 2 years later, you can get a Dreamcast for like $80 or something brand new. It was kind of amazing. I do love it.
Speaking of the Dreamcast, did you see that this was actually a story I wanted to bring up to you? Did you see that Retro Fighters is making a Saturn style controller, so good for fighting games, for the Dreamcast?
Okay, I think I saw you put this on the thing. I forgot to bring it.
There's not much to talk about it. But yeah, it just looks like the Saturn pad. And remember, they're not Retrobit, I think, is the one that actually has the license to the Saturn. But yeah, this just looks like a Saturn controller. It's wireless. It looks like Retrobit, I think it is, who has the wireless Saturn pads that you can buy now. It just looks like one of those, but it's for the Dreamcast. It's called the D6 Dreamcast controller, if anyone wants to check it out.
It looks real comfy. It looks
comfy.
nice.
A lot better D-pad than that stock Dreamcast controller for fighting games,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Next super chat here is from Connell Wood, who says, calling it now, PS6 base model will be $750.
Man, how much higher can we go? I guess we're, on the Bombcast, I was like, I'm sure. I guess, hey, despite what I'm saying, the PlayStation 5 Pro is probably going to just sell fine and sell out. And I keep thinking, I don't know. Is it? I have no idea. I guess I want to see, and I bet Sony is going to want to see. And then maybe we can worry about that. I guarantee
you, in terms of sales of the PS5 Pro, they've run the numbers and they have made it so that it will sell out, I think is what will happen.
It'll be curious to see, because I mean, hey, we live in a world where things sometimes don't perform as well as PlayStation might want, like a Concord.
True.
Like, I don't think it's going to happen. I wouldn't bet on it. But a world where sales are a disaster for some reason, and again, at a time where people aren't maybe spending as much money on video games already, and now look out, here comes the PlayStation 5 Pro at $700, and it doesn't exactly have the greatest pitch in the world. Like, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. But again, probably does. Maybe it does. We'll see. Then we'll figure it out. What I'm curious about, we haven't talked about the Xbox part of this equation, but they're not going to do a Pro. But they're also probably not waiting 4 years for maybe their next console, like, say, PlayStation is. And there's a lot of questions about what the next Xbox even looks like. So I can't even really guess what they're thinking about in terms of pricing for future things.
Right, like on the Xbox side of things, like the reason they went with the naming scheme of series is so because it's the Xbox series of hardware, and then the X, the S, so on and so forth is the console. I think Phil might have actually said to the contrary, but come on now, that's clearly why they did naming scheme.
It almost seems, yeah. And I mean, I thought that was the idea, but it almost, I guess, I kind of thought the whole point of that was that we would be getting more SKUs as time happened. It seems like the opposite's been happening here.
But maybe that is what ends up happening, and the Series Z is a more, PC style upgrade where it is, you could kind of look at it as a Pro, but they're treating it as like the next gen console. I don't know. I think Xbox is maybe the most interesting right now because we have no idea what they're going to do, and they're clearly trying to do new things. So maybe it goes well, maybe it goes spectacularly bad. I don't know, but I think that'll be interesting to see. I guess bringing it back to the super chat though, can you see the next generation PlayStation being more than the PS5 Pro at $700?
So look,
whatever the price may be.
I can't, but I also could. If you had asked me back when the PlayStation 5 launched, you think the Pro's going to cost $700? I would have absolutely said no. So what do I know is basically my point here. What do I know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they'll try to keep it around 700 because they're clearly marketing this as a boutique item. And when you're catering to the hardcore crowd, you can charge more. But when you say the base price for a console is 700, I don't think
it becomes a lot. And look, there's clearly friction here, right? They're catching flack for this, and I'm sure they're aware of it, and I'm sure they saw it coming, but they don't want to push it much further than this, I'd imagine. Again, let's see how well the PlayStation 5 Pro does.
Yeah. From Visualizer, Mike, you are not alone. FPS freaks for life.
Let's freaking go. It was incredible playing the Dreamcast, right? Because that was one of the things about the Dreamcast was that it had a good amount of 60 FPS games, and it was one of the big reasons.
Most games on there.
A lot of them. Like, not everything I played. Like, I played Quake 3 on there, right? And it still looked really good. That wasn't 60 FPS, although back in the day, having Quake 3 on a console looking that good was incredible. But, it's like playing Soul Calibur. I really am just like, man, the fact that this is running at 60 FPS still does something to my brain for some reason, especially, like, playing a non-HD game at that high frame rate. And there's, there's PS1 games that are like that still tickle my brain. Even just looking at like F-Zero X on the Nintendo 64, right? Seeing a Nintendo 64 game run at 60 FPS natively, I'm like, man, that's pretty stuff. That's pretty stuff. So yeah, but that's again, it's kind of why I'm like, man, there will always be certain games on these consoles that no matter how much I wish it, will not have a steady frame rate, and that might be the case on PC if I optimize as much as possible. But probably not. There will probably always be a way for me to get my steady 60 FPS on PC if I want to.
Yes, exactly. And that's why we like the platform, because you have the option there.
Yep.
From El Grug, is Jeff off eating the pets in Ohio? Hide Penny. Wow.
I barely paid attention to this because it's so freaking stupid. They got him doing this and not watching the debate. You would have to... I think you'd have to kill me to get me to watch a political debate these days. But yeah.
Wait, was that a reference to the debate or something? What am I missing?
Oh God, I don't even want to talk about. But
okay, maybe
people are being people are saying ridiculous things. People are being racist, basically in politics. In Ohio, and JD Vance are involved, and it's real fucking stupid.
What a shocker!
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
you know, let's move on from that one.
Ohio.
Cleveland rocks. From Hex Prof, I'm assuming it's Hex Professor. Been playing Astrobot all day. It rocks. Goaty.
It sure is good. You know, yesterday I was having a good time just doing some cleanup, trying to get that 100%, maybe even that platinum. I'm trying to think if I've ever platinumed a PlayStation game. I'm not really sure if I've ever bothered. I just never really think. Never really care. And even if I want to 100% a game, a lot of the times that's not enough to platinum, because like a trophy will be like, go to this level and wave at the wavy man at this point, and I'm like, I don't care, I'm not doing that.
Don't care, yeah.
Right. So
yeah, for me, I'm not a trophy guy, but if the game has a, you know, like people like Greg Miller, Blessing, I think too, like they like to talk about the good trophy list, the game that is not ridiculous for you to get. It doesn't ask insane things of you. It's just like a little extra that you have to do in order to get that platinum, and it gives you a sense of reward after the game, you know, outside of post-game content or everything. So there's a few I've done that with. I did that with I think God of War 2018. I did it with Spider-Man. I did it with I think Persona 5 Royal I have the platinum in, because that was more attainable than base Persona 5. You could do it in one run. So it's games that I really like, and it's not difficult to get the platinum, and is how I always do it. But yeah, in terms of game of the year, you know, we sort of joked around a bit about like where it places in your game of the year on the Bombcast today. But I do think it would be, I can't see it leaving my top 5 at the very least by the end of the year. I don't think Astrobot is my game of the year, because actually, I haven't talked about this. I've sort of been keeping it low key, keeping it a secret, but I have a game of the year for sure right now. And Astrobot, you know, I'm still only like halfway through right now, but it's not dethroning that yet, even though it is a fantastic game.
For me, it probably is. I guess I'll say. I think it comes down to 3 games right now for me. It's Astrobot, it's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and it's Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did really like that one.
I loved Prince of Persia, and apparently being able to remember its subtitle is my superpower.
I think more just Jeff Grubb not being able to remember any subtitle is his weakness.
I don't blame him for not being able to remember it, but I was impressed when he got to the Lost and then couldn't remember from that point. Okay, I was like, well, you're right there now, right? You gotta be
Prince Lost one.
It's like Lost Throne. I don't know. Like, no, you're right there. Come on. I wanted this game as soon as I played through Astro's Playroom. I was very loud about how much I wanted it, and then they gave it to me, and it was everything I could have hoped for, and even a little bit more. And we're still getting those challenge runs soon. I absolutely cannot wait for that. I couldn't be happier with Astro. Super, 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 super glad they made that game.
Yeah, it's really, really damn good. From Dat Boy Jerry. Great job hosting the news with your best friend Tam on the Bombcast today, Mike.
Thank you. I was kind of excited. They're like, hey, can you do the news? Like, yeah, I can do that. We have some big news. So I put on my serious journalist glasses. I'm like, we're going to do the news. And there's going to be no time for tomfoolery or tap dancing or any of that nonsense, right? This is serious video game discussion.
Yeah, you did a good job. Jerry also said, what do you even need Grubb for? Seems pretty easy to do.
Yeah, that was what shocked me the most, was the ease of it and how simple it was, and not difficult at all to read these long news story segments over there. Yeah, I agree. Jeff's job is easy, and I should just be doing it instead.
Kind of thing that would be easy to do every single day.
Of course.
Yeah,
I agree.
From RDX Son of a Fett, $700 PS5 Pro, big win for next Xbox in 2026.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing, though, right? Xbox had the cheaper console this generation. They had the Series S, and I thought that was going to matter, and it seemed like it kind of didn't. And I'm still kind of not sure why.
I'm gonna piss some people off by
Oh
saying
no.
this.
Okay. Oh god.
Because people don't want Xboxes.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, but if you have, like, when console buyers are looking at their options, it's like, well, the console that has everything or the console that has some things. They picked the one that has everything. So,
Yeah, you might not be wrong.
yeah, I mean, the numbers don't lie.
The
Like,
numbers
again,
don't lie, and they spell disaster for you, Samoa Joe. At
Disaster.
Sacrifice. Sorry.
look, again, not to yuck anyone's yums. You can like whatever hell you want to like, but the numbers are there, man. That's all I'm saying. El Grug is back. Also, is Blight Club happening tomorrow? Mike looks like he's been suffering enough, but Dan thrives on making others suffer.
Bike Club, to my knowledge, is definitely supposed to happen tomorrow, assuming Jeff gets home from his thing on time. I think Dan should be good. Best of my knowledge, it should be happening. And, like I said, I know I said I was feeling weird today. I feel like, by now, I don't feel sick, just out of sorts. I'll be able to play a couple hours of the bad Wii game. It's been a bit. Actually, it's only been 1 week. It feels like forever because of all the traveling and everything. There will be Play Club. Where's my fucking costume? That's right. I took it to Seattle. It's in my suitcase. I got to take out my fucking jacket and wig.
Next up is from George Green, who didn't leave a message, just put in a super chat. Thank you, George. If you meant to leave a message there, just at me or Mike, and we'll get that sorted. And then last one here for now from Cody Clements. Satisfactory 1.0 is great. My addiction has returned.
What's Satisfactory 1.0? It's a video
I don't know
game.
what Satisfactory is. I think it's some kind of building or management game or something.
Oh, is this an Infrastructure Week thing?
Ooh, it could be.
Is this infrastructure? Man, there's a lot of infrastructure video games.
You could do it. It's pretty good. It's like Factorio, but like 3D is like super.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
like factory, okay, I get you.
Oh.
People are saying it's Vinny Core.
Okay, and it's from
Alright,
Coffee
gotcha.
Stain.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's definitely Vinicore.
yeah, it looks interesting. Okay, I might. Maybe we need to check this one out then. Thank you so much, Cody.
Seems like a good candidate for Infrastructure Week. We do have one more super chat that just came in from Mike, your favorite user. Would you like to read their username?
Yeah, it's RJD Bev Do Fud. Thank you.
Nailed it.
Fud. Can I just call you Fud? Thank you.
Breaking news, just got off a flight and pretty sure Kamala Harris and Bill Gates were sitting behind me preparing for Poe from Teletubbies, trending so much. Please contact all of your industry contacts to start the Poe-verse.
Now, I'm not calling you a liar, Fud, but I think the presidential debate might be happening right now. So, if Kamala Harris was on your flight, we have a problem.
Yeah, we might need to get someone to an airport or something.
Yeah. Man, we need to stop talking about the Teletubbies. I don't like them. I don't like to think about the Teletubbies.
What's wrong with the Teletubbies?
They're weird. Look, wait, okay, so wait, were you so young that like you were actually watching the Teletubbies as its target demographic? Is that how much younger you are?
They started in like the 90s, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I guess that's just it. Like there's no crossover for me. I was the Barney generation. That was me. I love you.
Oh, well,
you love
Barney
me.
was still on, yeah.
Barney was still on, but Barney popped off when I was Barney age. It was a very big deal. People were losing their shit for Barney, that purple fucker, and his friend, the Triceratops, BJ, and there's Trixie or something like that. They were all dinosaurs. I don't know why they were dinosaurs and why they were hanging out with kids and just hugging them
they're cool,
constantly.
brother. That's why.
Yeah, it was strange.
Do you go to the do you go to the Bananas in Pajamas era of
I think that was happening, and I had no interest.
Yeah,
I got a little bit of that, but then I was like 10 and I stopped watching it.
I bumped up against Blue's Clues, and I think I watched some Blue's Clues even though I was probably a little older for it. But like Blue's Clues was one of the last like 4 little kids things I can kind of remember being newer.
By the way, this does check out. Barney started in, the late 80s, it looks like.
Really?
Here.
Late 80s. Okay, that's actually later.
I'm trying to figure
this
earlier
out than I thought.
Okay, no, that's production. The original release was early 90s. It started airing in 92.
First episode 92. That sounds right. So I would have been like 4.
Yeah,
Actually,
I
I would have
mean,
been 6. I would have been kind of old for it already.
Teletubbies started in '97. That's only 5 years later, and we're what, like 8 or 9 years
Yeah,
apart. So that checks out.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Actually, it's
Yeah.
now I'm seeing a picture of like some kind of weird reboot Barney, and I do not like the way he looks. I find him very upsetting. His eyes are too big. Barney needs to have the kind of small, dare I say, creepy eyes. He has to have the predator eyes. I'm just gonna say it. It's very upsetting.
I mean, he's got some creepy ass eyes now. I tell you what, damn.
Yeah. Barney's wild. There's a movie. What would it be like? I think about weird things. What would it be like if I just like watched the Barney movie by myself? I think the police would just come to my home.
Yeah, remember when we were talking about not doing that earlier today? Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Maybe you don't.
All right.
Anyways, that's the end of the super chats for now.
Fantastic. Christian, do you want another break, or what do you want us to do?
Yes, please.
We'll take another break, everybody.
Give me a break. All right, we're in a break.
Okay, I just put in like all the submissions since there's no news this week, so I guess kind of just go until
that's fine.
stop.
I'm like desperately trying to find my PlayStation trophies. I want to see if I have any.
I have no platinums, not a single one, and there was a time where I only play PlayStation 3 games all the time.
Let's see, is PSN
years.
profiles
And they never
still
go.
up? Yeah, it is. Is it just Tolkoto?
Yeah, I'm just curious if I have any, because again, I don't think I do.
Let's see. Let's update that.
But you almost think I would have. I guess you can't really accidentally platinum games too much.
No, you can't.
Right? Not really.
No, the requirements are too weird.
Like back in the day,
time,
I accidentally got 1,000 gamer score in games for sure all the time. Like that would happen.
Oh, sure, yeah. But you do have to go, yeah, well, I guess, the lists are roughly the same, but I don't know. I guess the fact that you have to think about it, you have to like go out of your way a little bit with a trophy. Maybe
Sure.
Every single Xbox I cross paths in my life wasn't even able to connect to the internet, so no gamer points for me.
Christian's been deprived all his life.
No, I've been a filthy pirate. That's why. Yeah, they were like.
I mean, I checked that. Yeah.
It's so weird to me that it's this difficult to see my trophies online. Apparently, I'm even signed into PlayStation.com, and I still have like absolutely no idea.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Yes. I was trying to
accessing
look
stuff
up
on PlayStation's website is just not good.
I was trying to do that because of to see what it will take to get the Concord Platinum.
Sure.
And then I give up.
As you do.
Yeah, I guess I assume this would be a much easier resource to find. Oh, well, let's worry about that.
Okay, let me see. PlayStation.com, and then I would assume I click on myself.
No, that's what I assume.
And
then, it's not. No.
Yeah, no, and then you assume you click on your profile, and it takes you to your like account settings. So yeah, I genuinely don't know where
you gotta go to your phone for that, boy. You gotta open up your
incredible. I don't think I have a PlayStation app on my phone. What am I, some kind of psychopath? Absolutely not. Okay, weird. Whatever. We can go back to the show. We'll figure this out later.
All right. Yeah.
All right. We're back, and since I don't have my normal attack dog here, Sean, I'm going to have to send you out to go and get the mailman. There you go. Go get it. More aggressive. Meaner. Yeah, bite. All right, there you go. That's good. All right, thank you very much. All right, everybody. We got some letters now from the listeners. Here we go. First one's from Mr. Bohr here. Hey, Nintendogs, when Nintendo launches the Switch successor, do you think they'll take another stab at having a companion app for the system? Just funny you should mention it. And if so, what would you most want out of it? Gosh, I bet there'll be something. I guess there'll be something, but boy, there's nothing I want from it. There's zero I want from it. What I want is to never ever open it. I haven't opened up the Switch app since I think Splatoon 2 when I had to one time. I forget if Smash ever made me open it. I hate that thing to its core. It's a terrible idea. It's uncomfortable to use. Now, of course, there's still a chance Nintendo uses one and has one.
Yeah, they don't care what you think.
Yeah, but I sure hope not.
Yeah, no, the best thing they can do is get rid of that, in my opinion. I just have everything happen on the console and have the app be like PlayStation or Xbox's, and it's just supplementary.
All right, next one here is from Adam Juice. It says, is it time to look into buying a Dreamcast? Are there enough good games to justify having a retro Dreamcast collection? I feel like Dreamcast still isn't too expensive. I don't know how much an actual system goes for. There's plenty of cheap games. Some are more expensive.
Cheap. Yeah, because like basically no one wants it. It's just people like us who love the arcade spirit who wants them. You know, even like I have my eyes. May you see on Twitter, I have a kick. I want like pink consoles just because you know I just want a theme going on there. I want that, you know, the Pepto Bismol PS2 as you put it. You know, I want that thing. I would love to get these Sakura Wars Dreamcast. And even that, like, in box, in decent shape, is like, you know, for a collector's item, pretty reasonable. I think I saw one. They sometimes go for in the upper hundreds, less than 1,000, but upper hundreds. But even box, I think I saw one the other day for like 400. I'm like, for something from the late 90s in good shape, like in the box and everything, that's not insane, you know?
And like, I have some cheap HDMI like output thing for my Dreamcast that I probably bought forever ago that was just like in its storage box with it, and I used that to stream yesterday, and it was completely fine. It looked good, and there was no latency, so you don't have to buy some expensive solution there. Even like even controllers are cheap still. Get
the Retro Fighters. Was it Brawler? I think. Or,
even if you wanted an original, like those aren't that hard or expensive to get.
Yeah, but those controllers aren't great.
I like it fine, but I'm
because like the I think it's the Striker. I think Striker's Retro Fighters Dreamcast one. Like they added a proper D-pad. It's a little more Xbox. I would say like OG Xbox controller S shape is kind of the shape that they went for. I think that just really fits the theme of the Dreamcast. Still, it still feels kind of period authentic. So yeah, you can get some third-party controllers, and they're putting out new stuff too. Like they just released I forget the company, but they put out like the VMU2. I think they just called it that, and it is like I don't know if you've been keeping up, Mike, but like the Mem Card Pro for like PlayStations and GameCube and stuff. That is a hobbyist memory card that they produced.
Like one of these
that you can then put like. I'm a little behind. So yeah, that's it. There you go. Yeah,
I got one for my GameCube. I could put like an SD card in there. Yep.
Yeah, and you have a bunch of virtual memory cards. Yeah. That's it.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
So if you're into original hardware and you want like something, because obviously you can just emulate all this, but if you want something like, you know, relatively inexpensive to collect, Dreamcast is probably a good way to do it. And you can also just burn the games if you just want to play games on original hardware, and that's like
Dreamcast is in this nice spot where it was like popular enough that there's like a lot of like support for it still from like the hobbyist community, but like, you know, not popular enough that it's like crazy expensive, and it hasn't quite gotten that GameCube bump where it's real expensive. There's some stuff. When I was at the store to like look for things to buy on Dreamcast Day, and like Dino Crisis on the Dreamcast, this was $100, which was maybe a bit much, but I kind of did it for funsies. Power Stone 2,
cult classic, sure. I see that.
Power Stone 2 is $150, which I thought was a bit surprising. It was a later Dreamcast game. Now that price will go down when the collection comes out. It always happens. But
may not an insane amount, but may that'll hit like the 100.
I was surprised how much like the price for Mario Strikers on GameCube. I remember just in real time seeing that go from like 100 to 50 after the Switch game came out, right? So things can happen, and there's some other GameCube games that once they finally get the ports and whatnot, I think maybe Paper Mario Thousand Year Door finally went down in price. I don't know. But every console's going to have its expensive games. If you're looking for like a really cheap one that's still fun to collect for, I think the original Xbox is actually pretty fun to collect for. A lot of really good games for there. And again, like even like the most expensive ones don't get that expensive. I think OG Xbox is underrated for collecting.
Yeah, the bigger a console was, the easier it is to collect for, just because there's more copies. Like the PS2 is easy to collect for. Right. Some games are price gouged, but you can, if you look around, because there's so many copies of whatever game floating around, you'll find one for.
Yeah, I think with the PS2, price. There's just so many games that there were just a lot of them that there just aren't a lot of those out there for sure.
Yeah.
But there's more demand for PS2. Even though it was so popular, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of demand for PS2 because it was so popular, which you don't necessarily have with the OG Xbox.
Right.
All right, Hoff says, hey, yo, dogs, took Grubb's advice and picked up the making of Karateka, one of those. So damn good alongside Atari 50. Which video game or series would most deserve this treatment next? Just give me any of the big NES titles, please. I want to know far more about them. You know, I'm a big LucasArts adventure game fan, so if you did like Monkey Island 1 or even Maniac Mansion, something like that in this style, or like the old King's Quests, I think that would be really interesting. Yeah, give me King's Quest 1 with the Atari 50 kind of thing there. Give me all the King's Quest games. I think that'd be neat.
I think if we were looking at a making of game that's like an interactive experience, I think Mortal Kombat would be a great one.
Yeah.
Because that's also a team you could get to do, you know, NetherRealm, they got stuff in the archives over there. You could just sit down and talk to Ed Boon and stuff, get John Tobias in there. And like, I think you could put together a really interesting interactive collection and maybe get some like beta builds if they have those laying around or something.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Next up is from B, who asks, what is the Borderlands movie of video games? It's Concord.
For context, some of these are from last week, by the way.
Oh, good. I was about to say, man, somehow Borderlands and Concord Discourse feels like an eternity ago. Oh, we have actually gone through the entire Concord saga. That game is already delisted. Like, we're done with it. Man.
Yeah, I saw what Jordan Midler posted, that something he's never seen before. They took away his press copy because they were just removing it from everyone's account.
That's insane. So Concord is the Borderlands of video games for sure.
That's not true, because Borderlands is a bad movie. Concord is a good video game.
All right,
I know. No sense.
That's okay. That's a fair point.
Being an asshole.
Hey, I haven't seen Borderlands. I don't know. Maybe I'd like it. Maybe I'd be good, but I don't know. Even movies people seem to like, I'm like not super high. And I saw Beetlejuice, and it was yeah. Oh, and look, I didn't have high expectations, but it did not meet them. I don't know. It's not terrible, but it was worse than I was expecting. I'll say that.
Oh man.
Who knows? But you know me in movies. Maybe I'm just a weird movie grump.
Yeah,
these days.
you suck. It must be good then.
Well, I'll tell you what. You enjoy its 10 subplots that don't interweave or get developed.
Have fun, I guess.
Thank you.
Have fun, I guess. Mech says, one thing I loved about the 3DS that was lacking in the Switch was the different home menu themes. You could purchase that. You could purchase them. They would have their own unique music and images that has so much charm to them. Could you see Nintendo implementing something similar to the Switch successor? It feels like something that also could be implemented tandem with my Nintendo coin system already in place. I mean, it's weird we never got on the Switch, because the Switch had some support for it in the UI. There was the thing, pick your themes, and it was only ever dark mode and light mode, right? So I guess I thought it was coming. It almost seemed like, I don't know, it's like, we're doing pretty good. We don't need to worry about it. Hopefully it comes back, because the themes were a ton of fun.
With the Switch, it's because it has no RAM. Was it 4 gigabytes, I think? And they did not want to, dedicate any of that to anything extra. That's part of why you don't have voice chat in the background on the console and stuff like that, because they need all that RAM going towards, because in a console it's shared between system and graphics, so they needed to put all that to use. So I guess we'll see what the Switch 2 is like, because maybe they get a little more creative there. It is one of the coolest things about 3DS though. I have a homebrewed 3DS, and one of the coolest things you can do is make your own theme. And so what I did is I have this cool, someone uploaded this cool Samus artwork they did that's I'm trying to think of what it would be. It's not quite pixel art. It's when you have
hentai.
An isometric.
Is it that? Is she naked in it? Okay.
It's when you have an isometric view of pixel/voxel art. I don't know. There's a name for that.
But I know what you mean. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's Samus fully clothed in the power armor, and then Phendrana Drifts plays. So anytime I open my 3DS, Phendrana Drifts starts playing. It's very cool.
You'd be proud.
Cool.
You'd be proud.
Mike?
Yes, Christian.
I was about to make the same joke.
Thank you. We are thinking it. You'll be proud of me, Sean. The current audio.
Would I, Mike?
Well, not about the hentai, but about my latest audiobook is about the history of computers, and I'm learning some things about computer science. Finally, I'm gonna catch up. So I know what the R in RAM stands for now.
Oh, what does it do?
What is it?
Random, which I never would have guessed. I never would have
What's
guessed the R is for random.
And the A stands for...
Well, look, the M's definitely memory. The A
memories, random access memories. You nailed it.
Memories. Is it? Wait, aren't memories? Never mind.
Yes, Mike, they are.
Well,
moving along.
Moving right along. Lenny Cool Dick Denver says, "Hey, Mike. 7 days since being canceled last Minotti and Jeff thinking about digging holes again. Grubb. What are your favorite side quests in games?" As someone who casually plays Zenless Zone Zero, there's one side story, the Dementia one for the 5 people who will get this, that blew me away. This is a fun question.
I put down ZZZ for a little bit, so I don't think I got to that one.
Okay.
Question, though, yeah.
I'll tell you the one that first came to mind, oddly enough, is in World of Warcraft Cataclysm. I mean, this might have, I think this was a side quest. There's a raptor, like a dinosaur, and he was experimented on, so he's sentient. His name's like Subject 7.
Okay.
And you have to help him build a rocket so that he can fly to a new planet. And you do all this stuff to build his rocket. Then you watch the rocket take off, and it explodes, of course. But I don't know. I liked that side quest a lot of helping this talking raptor build a rocket ship. I thought that was fun.
It's been a while since I've played it. I know it sticks in my head because I know Nadia Oxford loves talking about it on podcasts. But in Pokemon Sun and Moon, there's this side quest you go on where like it ties into the different evolutions and all their different trainers. And it starts off as just like meeting the different trainers who have the different, Vaporeon, Flareon, so on. But like you're like talking to them on behalf of someone who like wants to catch up with their old friends, and you see all the shit they've been through in life. Like one of them talks about like sort of alluding to being deeply depressed at one point, if you catch my drift. One may have like I think one of them may have been like gender queer, and they like figured that out or something like that. It's something like that. And it's just like all this like people going through some real life stuff, and you find out about it through this innocuous Eevee quest in a Pokemon game. Like sometimes they do really cool stuff like that, and that's one of them that sticks out to me. So someone chat pointed out a lot of the stuff in Nier Automata, where you see just like how messed up the world is, and a lot of sad stories. You got to like be in the mood for that, but it's like really powerful storytelling. And so there's a lot of good stuff in there too. I can't point to anything specific off the top of my head. Sorry, real quick. First. Mega Man Legends. I think you did this one, Mike. You'll remember this. The artist. The first time you walk up to her, because she
what is it
this
missing?
Whole fetch quest.
What is the painting missing?
Yes. She's painting her own museum, and she's like, "What is it missing?" You have the options of a little red or some talent.
It's so good. Mega Man Legends is so incredible. Such good writing.
I love that game so much.
The mysterious stranger stuff in the first Red Dead Redemption. It's got to be up there for me, actually, also too. That stuff was great. Okay, next one is from Jump Matt. It says, why don't game publishers, especially ones like Nintendo that have a large library, just pay modders for the rights to use their fan remasters? That would save us from ports like the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. It gets kind of messy with rights, and don't forget, like with video games, a lot of this stuff is going to happen in perpetuity, right? There's perpetuity. Thank you so much, Spelling Bee, uncrowned Spelling Bee champion, dare I say?
Never spelled a word wrong.
It's just easier to keep everything in house when you can. Now it's frustrating because sometimes in house isn't as good as what we see fans do. It's not impossible. We've seen like Capcom just straight up will do things like publish that Mega Man Cross Street Fighter fan game, and it's like, oh, that wasn't such a problem, was it now, everybody?
That was also because it was free. They never charged money for that. It gets tricky when you take a fan creation and then start charging money for it, because what happens if someone like signs over the rights and then decides they want more, and then it's like, oh god, a whole legal battle. Companies don't want to get into that. Something Harada has actually talked about on Twitter about like Tekken. And it's like, hey, people have like brought up all these concepts about fans and stuff. Why don't you just use some of their concepts? And he's like, we can't, because there will just be so many legal issues, and that's just not worth it over like a single character. So that's why you don't see these companies doing things like that a lot.
Chaos Buckaroo says, I do almost all my indie gaming on Switch, but every once in a while I'll get the urge to play indies on PlayStation. Do y'all ever get the urge to play a certain type of game on a certain system? Oh, sure. Like turn-based RPGs, I almost exclusively want to play on portables a lot of time. I do not want to be sitting down in a TV. For some reason, it almost makes me feel like a short attention span, but I kind of like second screening that stuff sometimes, especially if I am doing overworld things or dungeon crawling or something like that. And then, a bit more narrative, those kind of prestige narrative games, which I do, like to play from time to time. That is absolutely, I want to sit on a couch and actually get absorbed into that.
I kind of just want to play everything on Steam Deck
nowadays.
I'm living something similar to a Jeff Grubb life, where just because of a lot of personal stuff, I've been very, very busy recently. It's why certain projects are on hold and stuff like that. So a lot of times my gaming time lately has been that hour or so before bed, or if I have the time for the big comfy chair back there and I can just sit down for a couple hours before bedtime. But I'll also want to toss on a Twitch stream or like a VOD or a YouTube video that I want to get caught up on. So I'll just multitask a little bit and do, if the two pieces of art are both okay working that way, if I can watch something that doesn't require my full attention, play a game that doesn't require my full attention, I can split. And that's actually how I do a lot of gaming nowadays. Like Astrobot, great Steam Deck game. I stream it using a remote play, and that's been a lot of fun. So yeah.
Next up here is from Casual, says, Dear Nintendog and esteemed guest Nintendog, I have a theory that I'd like to hear your thoughts on. Is Ocarina of Time the Seinfeld of Nintendo games? Think about it, a big cultural groundbreaking icon from the 90s that some people have started to say lately, it's just okay, it wasn't ever that good, actually. If you disagree, what Nintendo game do you think is the most Seinfeld?
What? Who is saying that about Seinfeld? I want to pick a fight.
Oh, the kids.
They don't know anything.
The same kids that are coming after Ocarina of Time. It's okay. First they came after Mario 64, so it only made sense that they're moving on to Ocarina of Time now. It's sometimes who knows how much of that is really a thing. To me, it's like if you play Ocarina of Time, at least the 3DS version, I can't imagine how that would feel like that old of a game still. But I'm old, so who knows?
I think. Well, I was going at it from the opposite direction. I think with Seinfeld, I still watch it all the time. I could see why someone doesn't love it, because it's, I don't know, the jokes still land, but it's a certain type of humor. I think it was in a pre-meme world, having super quotable stuff was just, it was something we didn't really have culturally. Even like my generation, I'm being younger, I didn't watch a ton of it when I was on air. That would be a little weird, a 4-year-old watching the Seinfeld finale. But like in reruns with my dad, I would watch that a lot. And just being able to quote, no soup for you or something. Like, it's fun. I love that stuff.
It's somewhat, that was at that time too, where like there were still some TV shows that it seemed like everybody watched, right? And that was what was fun about it. Like, yeah, if you quoted Seinfeld, pretty much everybody would get it. And Ocarina of Time was kind of a touchstone like that also. If you reference, like Navi and Ocarina of Time, every gamer understands what you're talking about. So,
right.
That helps the comparison there. Jackie G says, where would Astro rank on the 3D Mario tier list? Okay, I like this. I've been thinking about this, actually. I think that I definitely still like the best 3D Mario games more than Astro, just because, especially the ones where the movement gets a bit more complex. Like, you don't have things in Astro that feel as good as in Mario Odyssey when you do, like, the jump into the wall jump, into the throw your hat, into the dive off the hat, to jump off of that, and then you grab the right. You don't have that kind of complexity going on. So I think Odyssey is still above it. I think the Galaxy games probably, and then I'm a 64 freak, me. So there, it's probably about as good as 3D World, and it's definitely better than Sunshine and 3D Land.
3D Land. Oh, we're going that route. Okay. So on that mini review we did over on Giant Bomb, all of us, including Jeff, including Dan, we all agreed that it's better than all of them except for Odyssey. Odyssey is the one where it's like, it's up there, but we would probably put Odyssey ahead of it.
Yeah, I don't know if I could be like, oh, it's just straight up, it's straight up better than like Mario Galaxy 2. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Even 64, but again, I'm a 64.
We've talked about this a little bit. I don't love the Galaxy games. I acknowledge that they are very well made, but because they have enough of the Wii in them, I don't love them. Anytime I have to point at the screen or anything, I'm just like immediately, I want to go back to my GameCube controller or my N64 controller, you know?
Yeah. The point though is like it's in there for me, right? It's like just kind of it's like it's among them, which is impressive for any 3D platformer. But
yes, just insane to say about any game that isn't from Nintendo is hanging with 3D Mario's. That's awesome. Like huge ups to Team Asobi. They nailed it.
And to be clear, like Mario Odyssey is like maybe my number 3, maybe higher, like favorite video game ever. So, and I don't know if anything's gonna be beating that anytime soon.
Yeah.
Tommy Petzel says, "Dear Sean and whoever the guest is 4K a scam?"
Not a scam, but native 4K is not something that people should be targeting. You don't need native 4K. I like what the Digital Foundry guys say, where 4K is a canvas, and you need to having all those pixels is a good way for developers to have their lower resolution games scale up to a bigger image in your home. And so I think if we're talking about like native resolutions, 1440p really is a sweet spot. And then if you very elegantly upscale that to 4K, that's where you want to be technologically, I'm
so kind of sad they didn't say the words 8K. They should have just gone for it.
so Jeff would destroy NAC on live TV.
I look at that every once in a while. I look at the box art for the PlayStation 5 when it launched and look at that 8K logo and kind of laugh.
Oh my God.
It's incredible.
That's insane.
That's a crime.
It's incredible that they did that.
It's insane. They should go to jail for that.
Somebody should have like gotten in trouble. Maybe they got. It's not there anymore. They did get.
It's not there anymore because it was never. Yeah, it never should have been there in the first place. But yeah.
Here's Beefhammer says, "Hey boys, do you see Beefhammer's new bit, by the way, is to just post a lie on every bombcast.
Just lying on Giant Bombcast.
It's incredible.
It's been funny so far. I don't know if it's about me. I might bop him, but I think he knows that I run that account, so I don't think he'll say anything about me."
Beefhammer says, "Hey boys, so I just have to ask, why do you think a game like Astrobot is revealing so well, despite it lacking several necessary features for any game? Just off the top of my head, there's no online co-op, there's no battle pass, there's skins in the game for Astro, but I'm unable to pay $20 for a single skin, and I expect they'll come later, but there's no competitive multiplayer mode. What's the excuse for this? Laziness.
Bad business.
Oh,
what the hell are they doing over there?
DEI. I think that's what's the problem.
Woke. It's too woke.
It's because of woke.
It's because of woke. I'm sad to say. Thank you, Beefhammer. Velocity Prime says, "Woof woof to Mike. I own the 3DO Minotti in Turbo Sean. I don't know why, but this is my favorite identifier yet. You could write Mike. I owned a 3DO Minotti on my tombstone," and I think it describes everything. I think it gets the point across.
Yeah, because you're like one of 12 people who did it.
It tells you everything about my life.
Yeah,
we're talking with my friends about like why she used to put on their tombstone like never married or like forever fucking bachelor or some shit like that. And I think like owns a 3DO. It goes along with those like kind of things to put on the tombstone.
What do you think the structure of the next 3D Mario game will be? Large open-ended levels like 64 and Odyssey, refined courses like Galaxy, or they actually try to construct a fully contiguous world like in Bowser's Fury? I think it's going to be kind of Bowser's Fury coded myself. Feeling a bit like Odyssey, but everything sort of being one large world still. Either that or maybe just basically like an Odyssey 2. I don't know if they're going to go back to the Galaxy or 3D world formula in anytime super soon.
I think Bowser's Fury felt like too big of a project to not be an indicator of where they're trying to go next, because it was so clearly in line with Odyssey that it just makes sense that that is the next evolution of the formula. So we will see something along the lines of a Bowser's Fury as the basis for the next 3D Mario game. I think that's right.
Jamie H1224 says, do you think the PlayStation 5 Pro coming at $700 softens the blow to whatever Switch 2 will be? A Pro for me in Ireland is €800 plus another €100 for the disc drive. So anything €500 and under will be considered day one purchase for me. I mean, yeah, expensive things always make things less expensive seem a little bit better. We kind of talked about it before, but yeah, we did talk about the fact that it's even more ridiculous, for in Europe, the price of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Like, it does not even scale. It's insane.
In Canada, it's close to $1,000.
What the fuck?
I think it's like $950.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
Next up from Bench JC, would there be a game or group of games that, if locked to 4K 60, would convince you to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro? It got me with Rebirth. Like, I was, early on in that presentation, because I'm such an FPS sicko, and that was a big part of the pitch Cerny was doing for a while, was talking about FPS, and it was like showing things like Rebirth, and I was like, yeah, that game, better frame rate, or Jedi Survivor, I forget, that's even one of the games they talked about. But no, I don't think, at $700, I don't even think even just promising that for a few specific games is going to be enough to really sway me.
I think that does come down to platform choice. I know Bench is more of a console gamer. I think he might have a Steam Deck, but I know that's what he prefers. So, if your console is your primary way of interacting with games, I totally get it. And so I totally could see you, saving a little bit more, saving a little bit longer than you would for your next purchase and, plunking it down because that is how you enjoy your games. But for me, Frankly, I would rather wait until Rebirth inevitably comes to PC to get that better experience.
Villamax says, if you could have an Astrobot level themed after any video game franchises, what would you want most? It's a good
Mega
question.
Man.
Yeah. Oh, Mega Man Legends specifically, though, huh?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty
a
freaking
great
cool.
world.
And Ridge Racer, of course. But,
Think about a Mega Man, like, galaxy in Astrobot where it's themed around each level is themed around the 5 main Mega Men. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be pretty. Okay, that's pretty neat. Actually, you could have fun with that.
Yeah.
Next is from Matt Rare Monkey. Are you going to play the Capcom Fighting Collection on Switch? If yes, is it because you're getting a code? Would you buy it for yourself? So I got code for it actually on Steam and PlayStation. So at this point, it's like, maybe I will buy the Switch version. Just because I do like having it on there just so I can kind of, again, mess around with it in bed for funsies, things like that. And again, if I really want to like play online, I'll use my PC. And if I kind of want to play with friends, then actually it might be where PlayStation is best for that. But yeah, I think at some point I will just get a Switch version. Maybe I'll even be weird and buy a physical version of it. I don't know.
Yeah, if I bought a physical version, it would probably be for PlayStation just because that's the tournament-ready one, I did get a code for it on Steam, and so I have played on Steam Deck. That's my, way of playing games portably most of the time nowadays. Even, Switch is more for exclusives or for games where I will be spending a long time with them because it's easier to hold a Switch for a long period of time. Like, while I'm in bed or something, can't put it down while reading a visual novel, like a Danganronpa or something, that is to hold a Steam Deck for multiple hours. So, but yeah, primarily I'm playing on PC, whether it is handheld on Steam Deck or with friends on my desktop.
You and I got to throw down still, we
do. And I think we're both trash at Marvel too, so I guess we'll find out.
I think it'd be fun if we did like a best of versus series. Like we play one match in each of them then tally up the wins. Yeah.
We do the first to 10 or like first to 5 on every game.
That would be great for a game that we're good at,
Yeah, well, the fact that none of us are good at these, so we'll be having fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I think we for Unprofessional Friday we have Space Marine plan, but maybe UPF in the near future we can get MVC collection as one of the games.
You know about my MVC2 team, the Femme Hat-Talls?
Yeah, Femme Hat-Talls. I was on that podcast.
That's right. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure it's pretty good. The
that is good. Yeah.
Cammy, Ruby Hart, and Jill Valentine.
Jill. Yeah,
girls of hats.
That sucked.
Yeah, it's a bad team, but hey, my teams are.
It's a horrible team.
No, it's great.
My teams are not great either.
I think Ruby's mid tier, right? I don't think anybody's low tier.
I mean,
at least.
I agree to disagree.
There is a part of me that's like, maybe some point I should try the scumbag life and just do like an Iron Man Storm in Magneto
Storm
team or
Psylocke
something.
Magneto,
yeah, just do Cable. Something like Cable is easy, right?
Yeah,
I remember I hated playing against Cable because he just shot you and then did his beam, and then I was like, oh, that works.
You just press heavy punch over and over, and beam combos into super beam. So
Sludge Reinhold says, hello to the true last of the Nintendogs, Mike and Deputy Dog Sean. I realized recently that although I have played nearly every mainline Mario game, I've only ever actually finished 64 and Sunshine. My question is, which Mario platformer has the best ending / final levels? Which should I prioritize finishing?
Ending? Odyssey.
Yeah.
That ending rules. The song kicking in at the end and everything, man. Ooh.
And I think
that's good.
I think the final challenge levels are very good in that. It's like I forget how other people think, but I liked the final challenge level in Odyssey a lot. It might be my favorite one. The 3D World one was also pretty good. And there's a lot of stuff in 3D World at the end.
As I remember, I like 3D Worlds a lot more. I thought Odyssey's was a little underwhelming difficulty-wise for like a final challenge level.
Yeah, I don't know. It took, for some reason, I did better on 3D Worlds than Odyssey, but I don't know. Maybe I got good in the intervening months. It's a possibility. I mean, I'm sure you're feeling this too. Not trying to throw shade, but it's interesting. Hearing some people talk about their struggles on the Astrobot like challenge levels, and I think somebody who plays a lot of 3D platforms, like, I got through those relatively.
Yeah, like I'm trying to really not like stick my nose up because I play so many of these that it is, a lot of those are really easy to me.
But it's like that's like the challenge, right? Because I think you and I agree. It's like, I think we would have liked Astro even more if it was harder. But then like some people's complaint is like, some of these levels are kind of bullshit. You're like, that's why they don't, right? Because it's a big range.
Yeah, they need to strike a balance. I would rather that they are appealing to more people than appealing to just people like us.
Screaming Man says, who would you all get to develop a Star Fox fighting game? Also, what fighting game character archetype would Crystal be? Is Crystal a rushdown or a trap? She's a trap character, right? Doesn't she have a lot of magic spells?
She's like a Jacko in Guilty Gear, just putting a bunch of stuff on screen.
Could she be like that one archer? Could she be like the one archer from the later Samurai Showdown games? You know what I'm talking about? No,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Absolutely not.
I like her.
I'll trust Christian on that one.
Do you just want Ark to do it?
Hey, it's Denzel. Got in chat aiding the people who did Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and DNF Duel.
Oh, okay.
They're doing then Impact.
Yeah, the Hunter x Hunter fighting game.
Okay.
They also did the Naruto Clash of Ninja games on GameCube. They have a great way of doing traditional 2D fighting games that are just wild and over the top, as you know, with Marvel 3.
Control Chaos.
You just you punch buttons, just press buttons and have fun. And so where the option is there, get aiding on the job. And as Dason points out, they also made GOTY 2023 Pikmin 4. I don't know if that actually came out in 2023, but
it did.
Because it was just
last year. Yeah, just last year.
Yeah, that asshole changing his on stage, changing his game of the year to Pikmin 4. What a freaking. Anyways,
I liked it. Dr. Lynch says, "Hey, Nintendo pups, how about that PS5 Pro price? Huh? Obviously, it's not a typical console, but that's quite a bit higher than I was anticipating, and that's with the disc drive costing extra. Does this make you think that kind of pricing means we're in for a more substantial price increase for the Switch 2? Also, PS Turbo Shine is great. Thank you, Dr. Lynch. Yeah, we talked about this a lot. I don't think Nintendo's going to change their mind because of what's happening there, but it's still indicative of where the market is in some ways. So, I would not expect less than 400 at least. That's what I'm saying. If you think it's going to be less than 400, I think it's almost getting delusional.
400 is lower bounds, and like we said, I don't think he'll be much more than that. If it is more, I think 450 is probably maybe even the sweet spot at this point, but I would say 400, yeah.
All right. We'll do a few more of these, but why don't we take a break first? We'll get a few more of these emails out, and we'll check out the super chats and what we've been playing.
Sounds good.
Break.
Right,
Let's just jump back into it.
Okay. Let's see. We could maybe get through all of these. We'll go get through the rest of them.
Just whatever you're feeling,
Okay. I feel okay now.
Okay.
After I woke up in a panic. Sorry about the manic energy I brought when I first started, by the way. I don't know what was going on.
It was interesting. I'll give you that.
I hope so. All
right. I found it funny.
I'm glad.
You would.
All right, we're back. We got some more letters here. Weezman says, hey, yo, doggos. What if Nintendo just keeps not announcing the Switch? Everyone already knows it's coming out, probably next year. And what changes if they announce it 6 months before launch or shadow drop it in the spring direct? What do they have to gain by telling us something we already know? I mean, at some point, people got to plan for these things. People might want to save money or pre-order, or you might want to make commercials and things. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because okay, so it's September. Let's say about this. They announced it, because some people are saying maybe announcement this month.
Yeah, that was getting flown around before, and all the other things that we thought that rumors were saying were going to happen this month, like the PlayStation 5 Pro did. Although there was one guy saying that Grand Theft Auto 6 was going to get delayed to 2025 and that Jason Schreier was going to confirm it. And instead Schreier was like, no, I'm not hearing that. So
yeah.
not every rumor's true, I guess.
Nah, definitely not. But I think we could hear about it pretty soon here. And if we don't, then we hear about it early next year and it's coming out late next year. It's one or the other at this point, really.
JD Camp says, I got an ad saying I should move to Ohio when I was watching football. Mike, can you tell them to cut it out? No, join me. It'll be great. We'll have a fun time in Ohio. I think, man, when I was coming back from Arby's, when I was delusional, for some reason, I was thinking it'd be funny if we changed the name of the podcast to Ohio, the Video Game Podcast. And now I think about more, and I can't tell if it's brilliant or if it makes zero sense.
It makes zero sense, Mike.
It's kind of funny, though, because everyone thinks Ohio's funny, so it'll stand out. And Ohio means mid, so it's like we're being self-deprecating, right? We're a bad video game podcast, right? Ohio, the video game podcast.
We are a bad video game podcast, that's for sure. But I don't think we're Ohio level bad. You know what I mean?
Don't worry, everyone. I don't actually want to change the name of the podcast, but
also your frequent guest host is in Wisconsin and your editor is in Argentina, so I think it's a little self-centered.
It's okay,
Ohio,
guys. I give you honorary Ohio citizenship status.
Oh.
You're welcome.
I've always wanted it, Mike. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bikes and Bruce says, can Christian and Sean share any fun inside baseball stories on what it's like working with Jeff and Mike? And thank you for the work you do to make these podcasts happen. And everyone who contributes to the podcast are highlights of my week sitting at a desk at work. Yeah, go ahead, guys. You can be as honest as you want. It's okay.
Only one thing is constantly reminding them to watch Columbo. That's the only thing I like to do all the time. It's just, did you watch the episode? It's like, oh, no.
I'm better than Jeff is, right?
Yes, Mike.
Sure.
Yeah, Mike does. Yeah, sure. Yes, he does. He does watch the episodes when I tell him to watch the episode. So I guess that's a plus.
So the thing about Jeff and Mike is that they're both kind of like what you see is what you get, and that's why we like hanging out with them and now working with them. Even over at Giant Bomb where things are a little bit more bunded up. Mike being, you have your day job, so you're not in all the same stuff we are. Like me and Jeff being in meetings and stuff like that. Jeff's kind of just Jeff, he keeps it very tame and professional where he needs to, but at the same time, the team at Giant Bomb understands us and where we're coming from, and they're the same way. They're also like what you see on content is sort of what you get. So it's kind of the nice thing about being in this branch of games media is that we don't necessarily, we put our personalities on display and we're not, acting necessarily. We play things up for the camera, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
We're all just behaving the way we would like with Game Mess Asides and this podcast for what's worth. When we're done with the show, we kind of just talk afterwards as if the podcast was still going a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just obviously about, random stuff that we're planning or whatever that we can't talk about on air, but it's just, we kind of just talk about things the same way. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just what you would expect, I guess, is how it is. I don't have any specific stories, like funny things to share necessarily, but yeah.
Excellent. Always Be Clothing says, have you all ever had a Buzzball before, and what flavor would you like to try? I desperately never want to have a Buzzball. Actually, I don't.
They're not they're not bad. They're not bad. Like
Okay.
if we gave you the impression that they will like mess you up like a Four
Well,
Loko or something, no.
It's not.
just
I guess it's
strong.
not just that. I'm like very sugary alcoholic drinks. Like especially as I'm getting older, the thing with drinking is headaches. I just get dehydrated pretty quickly, and I just get throbbing headaches. And the sugary stuff does it way faster. So the idea of doing a buzzball, which I assume is very sweet. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. So I just feel
it's
like
all like mimicking sweet drinks, though. It's not like
Sure.
excessively sweet because it's mimicking, you know, a pina colada, a strawberry daiquiri, stuff like that. So like if you like those drinks at all, getting the buzzball equivalent is, you know, basically the same thing.
Like the only time I'll usually do a sweet drink is if I'm like on vacation and at a tiki bar, and then it's kind of a special treat. Then I'll do it. But otherwise, I just beer and whiskey is what I like.
That's fair. Yeah, they're all right. They're not something I have often, but the liquor store I go to sometimes has sales on them. I'm like, you know what? There are some nights where just having a pre-packaged pina colada flavored beverage does sound kind of nice. So yeah, sometimes I pick them up once in a while.
Stinky says, I'm about to lose all my time to Satisfactory, releasing 1.0 today. What's your favorite game to sink into and forget how long you've been shrugging off real-world responsibilities? Colorado Nights and building a factory is chef's kiss for me. I'm used to just be my MMOs like Final Fantasy 14 and World of Warcraft, and I tell you what, it's been a struggle. I think people have noticed keeping up with them these days. Like both released expansions this summer, and I want to play them, and I've been trying to play some War Within. I didn't even really get to finish the main story quest in Dawntrail. I've been like kind of busy for these kind of games that it used to be I just sort of play this as soon as I'm done with work until I have to go to bed. Kind of miss it in some ways, but MMOs, that's usually what I would go to that for. Or stuff that was adjacent to it, like a Diablo 4. A lot of Blizzard games. Overwatch used to be one like that for me.
Sure. For me, it tends to be sometimes games I can play on my phone. You know, I'm sort of the mobile game representative in our sphere, and there are some games that do that to me. A big one is Pokemon TCG Live, or whatever form the Pokemon TCG takes at that time. I just, you know, playing games, going down the ladder, playing some ranked matches, getting some practice in for tournaments and stuff. That is something that I will often do. Not necessarily sucking me in to the point that I'm avoiding other things, but it will be something that's just always over here on, you know, the side of my monitor or something. I'll just, you know, play out my turn and then go back to whatever I was doing, whether it be just scrolling through Twitter or catching up on videos in the middle of helping produce a show that I'm not on. You know, I'll just have it over there as something, a side thing I can sort of mess around with when I have time. And I think a while back you mentioned doing that with Hearthstone, Mike, back in the day.
Hearthstone was it's like I said, Blizzard games. Hearthstone was big for that for me.
Yeah.
I've been kind of missing it a little bit lately. Because that was a game for 5 or 6 years I played so much of. I got to go to these events. I even did some card reveals, and it's just kind of weird. Like, man, Hearthstone just hasn't been a part of my life in a while, and it's like, it was fun when it was, though. What I really want is
are fun to go back to too, like getting caught up. I've played the Pokemon TCG almost my entire life, but there have been 2 periods where, for one reason or another, I kind of just like stopped paying attention to the competitive scene at least for a year or two. And coming back after, you know, a couple of years and seeing all the new cards that have been added and everything, it can be a lot of fun.
What I really want is that. I want a Lorcana PC client. That's what I really want. Maybe someday.
An official one.
Someday. Yeah. Next up here is from Germ, who says, Mike, do you know about Simply Mad About the Mouse? I had the VHS when I was a kid and watched it constantly. Every couple of years, I have flashbacks about it. This must be... I don't think I know about this. It's a Disney thing. It's a 1991 direct-to-video release showcasing contemporary singers performing classic Disney songs. Okay. So you have things like Soul to Soul singing Kiss the Girl, LL Cool J.
Contemporary. It came out in 91 for context.
Right. Yeah. So LL Cool J doing Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf. It's funny. It's like, I remember more 2000s versions of this, like Hootie and the Blowfish doing the Haunted Mansion song and stuff like this. But this specific album, no. I might have to check this out. That sounds fun. Willow Davis says, hello, Nintendo Company Limited, K9's Omega.
Sure.
I'm glad I caught the bombcast today to see the mutinati against Mike and his hatred of IKEA for their non-English names. I actually just yesterday assembled an IKEA Billy bookshelf for my games in my new apartment. Surely Mike wouldn't have any issue with that name. I also wonder how far this joke will go until new people just start believing that Mike actually has a problem. Yeah, I've been trying to DM. I've been trying not to acknowledge as much.
Trying to tone that down a little bit.
I don't want to because I started it, so I don't want to yell people when they do it. Like, don't do it anymore. But part of me is like, all right, guys, we gotta move on because I'm worried. I don't want people to actually associate me with that. I will say I do definitely need some shelves. My cable management and these consoles, I have all these old consoles over here now. It's a disaster just looking at it. So I need to get some actual shelving units and figure this stuff out in a real nice way. I don't know if IKEA is the answer for that. I don't know if an IKEA Billy is what I'm looking for here. IKEA Billy. I think it's just that I associate IKEA with going to college, which is just it's not a terrible time of my life, but it's just kind of a weird time of life. I like my life better now than I liked it in the uncertain college era, I suppose. So
sure.
I don't have I don't know. IKEA is IKEA. Next one here is from Ali Miracle. It says Nintendo has the chance to do the funniest thing now. Formerly being heavy into consoles, I don't even own the current gen other than a Switch thanks to PC gaming. For me, with fighters coming out and possibly more on the new Switch, and if they get Final Fantasy 14, just assuming back compat will be day one, baby. And they're going to be the only ones coming out winning in the console market here in the future. Are they going to be the only ones coming out winning in the console market in the future? I mean,
Nintendo just gonna sweep consoles is what she's asking.
Yeah, I can. Hey, obviously Xbox's position is precarious, and PlayStation's more secure than that. But it doesn't seem like a super sure thing. When I say that, I mean what is 20 years from now? 20 years from now, I'm fairly certain there will be a Nintendo console, right?
Yes.
I'm not. It's harder to say with PlayStation. Probably there will be something.
PlayStation probably. Xbox probably not.
Probably not. It's hard. Again, it's hard to say. But yeah,
it's hard to say. Yeah.
Nintendo is certainly the most secure right now for sure. But
yeah.
At
least with
fast.
their current business strategy. We're not saying the R1s are going away. It's just, what they look like will be different. But Nintendo having a traditional console many years down the road, let alone next gen, that sounds right.
Right. But, Nintendo can muck it up. They've done it before. But even when they do, and especially now, they're such a legacy brand that you think they can weather those issues. But who knows?
Yeah. I think they're going to be smart enough to not mess up the Switch 2, but I guess we'll see.
Gerber says September 4th marked the 6th anniversary of the release of the Xbox Adaptive Controller. Since then, both Sony and Microsoft have continued to try and make games more accessible for gamers with disabilities. Nintendo's efforts have been paltry by comparison. What pressure, if any, can be exerted by consumers to modify Nintendo's behavior? Yeah, I think, is it Totillo who always brings it up, and I always really appreciate that. When he does. Honestly, I think consumers, I don't know much you can do. It probably does come down, honestly, to more people like us to constantly kind of give them flack for it and to remind them that, hey, your competitors are doing more here than you, and it's kind of a shame, and it's kind of embarrassing to the brand. It's definitely an aspect that they can afford to do better in and should be doing better in.
Yeah, definitely. Because, for as much cheesy marketing as Xbox does about some of their catchphrases, though, when everybody plays, we all win. That is true. Just getting more people in the door, which includes catering to people who have accessibility needs. I think that's really important. And as someone, I won't get too much into it, but as someone who has many family members with a whole different variety of disabilities and needs like that, I really appreciate when these companies do go out of their way to help support that.
Jedi Moss 4 says, with laws of diminishing returns now here for consoles, does it make more sense for future console upgrades to behave more like smartphones rather than full-on new generations? Kids today don't seem to care that GTA 5 was originally a PS3 game. Yeah, I mean, that aspect of it is absolutely true there. I think there's still going to be somewhat bespoke console releases, especially with the PlayStation, because there's such a difference between calling something the PlayStation new number and the PlayStation same number Pro or same number Slim or whatever you want to do there. But yeah, part of me listening to an audiobook about computer science there, right? So I understand Moore's Law better. You may have noticed me name drop it during the bombcast.
Yeah, I did catch that. Yeah.
See, there we go. I'm learning. And yeah, it's like we're not living in that world anymore, and it's just getting harder and harder to maybe make these things seem more special. Now, the thing is, there's other avenues, right? Like handheld gaming. Like that is still kind of growing at a place and is still catching up. So you're seeing better gains somewhere like there. And I think it's why Nintendo is going to probably have an easier time showing off just how much better a Switch 2 can look, for example.
Yeah, I think when done successfully like Nintendo does, it makes sense to have new hardware. Situationally, I think other companies may pivot. Like we talked about with Xbox, they're going to stick around, but in what form? Their hardware may look very different in the future. I think for them, something that is more iterative may make sense, especially if they're already prepping people for that by having 2 consoles already, sort of hinting at that's what their future is. I think we could see that, but with we've been talking about PlayStation a lot. I think for them and Nintendo, I think having the generation structure, especially when it is just numbered like PlayStation, I think it still makes a lot of sense to people. So anything's possible. I just don't see them pivoting in the near future.
Char Wolf says, "What's up, dogs? Could Nintendo get away with a major price tag on Switch 2 games? More specifically, could they get away with most, if not all, of their games going up to $70? I feel like the reason that most people complain about PS5 games being $70 is due to the games not being quote-unquote worth the price tag, whereas something like Tears of the Kingdom got away with it easily. Could the possible extended cross-gen window lead to even more scrutiny across the fan base? I bet we're going to see more $70 games, but we've been seeing Nintendo use the whole range recently, and sometimes it seems random. I still can't believe that Donkey Kong Country Returns is going to cost $60, right? I can. It just seems. Well, I guess the point is that to them it seems more about not necessarily perceived value or how expensive the game is to make, but just how much they think they can sell it at.
It's how many people will buy it. Like you talk about like why was Metroid Prime Remastered 40 and Donkey Kong 60? Because so many more people are going to buy Donkey Kong, guaranteed that it's free money. And so that's how I see the business strategy, at least, is they're just getting that free cash in.
I do wonder if Donkey Kong Country Returns is going to have a little bit of a Bowser's Inside Story remake issue of being a very late port to a dying console, and then maybe a lot of people aren't going to jump on. We'll see how well.
I think he'll be fine because Donkey Kong, but yeah. Also, interesting that Tears of the Kingdom is still the only $70 one so far. I had to like double check to make
what did
sure.
Pikmin 4 come out at? That was just 60, right?
Yeah, just 60. Everything else has been 60 outside Tears of the Kingdom, as far as I know.
And I guess they haven't had a game as big as that, I guess you could say, right? Like if a new Mario game did come out this holiday, I bet that would have been 70.
If they were going to charge $70 for one game, that's the one. So that makes sense to me. So yeah, I think they're going to do it again for stuff that makes sense.
Last one here from Joyzy. You ranked the masters. Now time to find the King of Kings. Please rank the following kings. I have a bunch of kings here, Sean. I'm going to give them to you, and then I want you to rank it 1 to 10, and I'll do the same. Sound good?
Okay, yeah.
1 to 10. 10 being the best. Sure. King of Fighters.
Ooh, 8.
I think 8's right. I like King of Fighters. It's not like, it's not the most important fighting game.
Legacy is there, baby. Yeah. Legacy.
Yeah. King of the Monsters, Godzilla.
Oh, Godzilla does kind of rule, but he's had some iffy ones. Also 8.
I think also an 8. Yeah, I like Godzilla. On the other side, King Kong.
King Kong's kind of weak, man.
Yeah.
He's iconic, but he hasn't had a lot of great movies. 7.
7 or 6, I'll go with that. I remember when I went to see the first Kong Godzilla movie with one of my friends. I was like, "All right, we're all Team Godzilla, right?" And I was shocked how many of them like, "No, King Kong." I was like, "What is wrong with you?" Disgusting. They kind of made it a race thing. I'm not gonna lie. They're like, well, he's a man, but we're closer to King Kong than Godzilla. And I was like, wow, this is kind of a problem. I don't know if we could be friends anymore. King of Red Lions.
Oh. The reveal is good.
The reveal's very good.
Another 8, I'll say.
Maybe a 9. Nintendo does it way too much where you just have like the companion talk to you character. Even like as excited as I am for Echoes of the Wisdom, I have to roll my eyes at like another sprite character who like just kind of hovers around you and talks to you constantly. They love that shit. King of the Red Lions was a much more interesting way of doing that. I like King of the Red Lions. I'll give it 9. Jesus. I just said Jesus, which is funny. King of Kings, aka Jesus. What would you give Jesus?
Mid. 5 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I was raised Catholic. I refrained from this one. The current
dude got cruised, man. I don't know
oh
what you
God,
want me to
the
tell
King of England. Moving on.
-10. Negative. It's the worst.
Not a fan.
Definitely worse than Jesus. I'll say that much.
King's Quest. Have you ever played a King's Quest? How much a King's Quest experience?
I have not. I'll abstain, just like you abstain from ranking Jesus.
It's a 10. King's Quest rules.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
More people should care about King's Quest, and I don't know. I think about King's Quest a lot, actually. King and Armor King from Tekken.
Man,
They're 2 different characters, though.
They are, but cumulatively, a big fuck those characters out of 10.
Oh, you don't like King?
You don't like him?
You're
my
anti-King.
friend plays King. My friend plays King. Every time I get hit by Giant Swing, man.
Okay.
I
Feels
see.
real
No,
bad.
he doesn't like the rolling death cradle. I get it.
Look, man, I try to get out and I don't get. It's a whole thing.
You gotta take, bro. It's either 1 plus 2.
No. I know.
I'll give King a 9. King Arthur. Pick your favorite King Arthur.
I think
from
there's.
Fate?
Yeah, there's a sexy King
Yes.
Arthur in Fate. I'll give her
Yes.
a 10.
There is.
Is she sexy? Wait, what? Wait,
Probably.
what is what's going-
Isn't everyone
I guess
on
so.
that series? I don't know.
What series is
I don't know.
this?
She has a
Fate, like Fate,
Fate.
Stay Night, the game that you couldn't remember the name of the other day.
Yeah.
Is that like Fate Stay a Night or something?
Fate Stay Night, Fate Zero. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. She looks like a character from a Vanillaware game.
Yep.
Yeah. All right then.
No.
I think of King Arthur from Sword in the Stone. Shocking, and I'll give him a nice
Surprise.
8. The High King of the reunited kingdom of Gondor and Arnor. That would be Aragorn, son of Arathorn, also known as Elisar, Strider, Dunedain, and Isildur's heir.
Who?
Aragorn from Lord of the Rings.
Arrogant.
Oh, 1 out of 10.
What?
You're one of them also?
Yeah.
You're one of these Lord of the Rings haters? Where
That's
you all
my
come
boy.
from?
It's boring, dude. What do you want from me?
He's a 10, actually.
That's Viggo Mortensen. That he's Argentinian. You should
Wow.
disrespecting my culture.
There you go. Martin Luther King Jr.
11 out of 10.
All right,
I will not
smart.
accept any other answer,
There you
Mike.
go. There you go. Okay, I think that was actually kind of low. I'm gonna say a 12. I think that you
You know what?
maybe
That's
we
fair.
need to
That's fair.
reconsider.
That's fair.
King size
White girl
mattresses.
You know what? It's too much. I don't need that.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I think a
I'm
queen
fine
will
with a queen.
do you.
Yeah. Like, who are you trying to impress here?
Well,
Come on.
yeah, I guess it depends how many people are on the bed. I think if it's
It
a
does?
permanent 2-person solution,
Okay.
I think I want a king.
Okay, Mike.
The goblin.
7 out of 10.
7 sounds fine. The Goblin King from Labyrinth.
Not familiar. Sorry.
Oh really? He's
No.
a silly little guy. I'll give him a 7. He kidnaps children. He's fucking what's his face? He's God. Why am I shit? Ziggy Stardust. You know.
What?
What do you mean? You don't know who
Something like
Ziggy
that, yeah.
Stardust is? The actual musician, David Bowie. He's David Bowie.
Oh, David Bowie.
Oh.
You children. Okay. The Lich King from Warcraft 3.
I at least am familiar. I'm not a big Warcraft guy.
It's pretty cool.
He's-
Iconic.
Very
Give
cool
me an
design. He's cool in Warcraft 3. I will say he was a pretty flat villain in Wrath of the Lich King. Very one-dimensional. Just kind of would show up and go like, "Roar, I'm evil and you're futile," and then would disappear again.
But
But
free spirit thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
cool,
that's a bit.
cool design. King Koopa, aka King Bowser.
Oh, Bowser is a 9 out of 10. So close. Very iconic, cool villain. Keeps getting defeated though, dude. What's up with that?
Do you
We
like?
always forget his royalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like Doofus Bowser? Or do you think they play up the doofiness too much sometimes?
I like a balance, you know.
Yeah.
I like him when he's sort of like meet in the middle. I think like even Bowser's Fury was maybe like too much of like the really big, mighty, powerful Bowser. I think Odyssey. Odyssey strikes a good balance.
I think honestly, I think actually Galaxy 1 is one of my favorite depictions of Bowser. I think in that intro he actually seems somewhat menacing. I remember he like kind of shoots smoke out of his nose at one point. I'm like, okay, this is a pretty good Bowser.
Menacing, but you ultimately realize that Mario can take this guy down. Yeah.
King K. Rool from Donkey Kong Country.
Ooh, King K. Rool. Maybe a little one note, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, I've never been a huge fan of the is it Kremling design?
Yeah, the Kremlins, no G.
Kremlins, okay. The Kremlin design, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of rare character designs, actually. But King K. Rool, I've got a bit of a soft spot because I do like Donkey Kong Country. So 8 again.
Yeah, I used to not care too much, but his Smash Brothers design is amazing, and I think he's actually one of my favorite characters to play in Ultimate. I think he's really fun, so I'll give him an 8. Stephen King, the author.
Books suck. 3 out of 10.
It was pretty cool when he got run over that truck. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
You got isekai'd?
I don't think I've ever actually read a Stephen King
Technically,
book.
he did because then he wrote himself into his books.
That's right.
After he got hit by a car, and where he gets hit by a car. So maybe.
King of the Hill.
Ooh, strong. You know, I'll give it to a 10 out of 10. I love King of the Hill. That show was always funny.
I liked it as a kid fine when it was just like on the same day as Simpsons. I bet if I go back to it now, I would like it even more. For sure.
The satire is fantastic. Like, especially when you're an adult and you can appreciate some of the jokes a bit more. It's one of those kind of shows.
How do you feel about Peggy Hill? Because I know she's a somewhat controversial character for some people. Some people can't stand her.
Like, she sucks, but that's also kind of the point. So, I don't know. I don't know if you mean it any deeper than that. But
no, that's all I mean. Some people, I think, find her obnoxious.
Yeah, she's annoying, but, like, again, kind of the point. So, whatever.
The Lion King, the animated movie.
Oh.
10. Solid 10.
Close. 9 for me. It is one of my favorite Disney movies. I do like it a lot.
Breaking news, by the way. Don't worry, everybody. Taylor Swift finally endorsed Kamala Harris. So
shit! Her stocks are going up. Let's go. I'm bought into that shit.
Look,
Let's go.
everyone, let's go.
Finally,
we can all calm down.
I was worried.
The Lion King live action movie. I forgot the word for endorsed, by the way, for a moment there. That's why I was stumbling over my words. Lion King, the quote unquote live action movie.
I'll defer to the expert, but I don't think this was very good.
It's like a 4. Yeah, we'll go with a 4 there. They're making that prequel. We'll see how that's like. But that reminds me, because they actually did just get James Earl Jones still in the remake. In the prequel's Mufasa. It's about his character as a kid, but it's kind of like told in a flashback. I wonder if James Earl Jones did any like lines for that as older Mufasa. We'll see. The Pumpkin King, Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Ooh.
Oh, 11.
Great skeleton, bad Santa Claus, but he's got some pipes. 9 out of 10.
He's a 10 out of 10. I mean, that's such a good character design, and like
such a good character.
It's been funny seeing him become a pretty core part of like the Disney character staple. They use him for everything now.
The Nightmare Before Christmas world in Kingdom Hearts.
It was so good.
Dude, those designs are so good.
Yes.
It ruled. I want to play that weird PS2 game that's basically just Devil May Cry with musical segments so bad soon.
That'd be a cool stream.
I need to get that.
Cool.
Also not included here, but I'm going to throw it in. King from Art of Fighting / King of Fighters. The better fighting game King. Sorry, Tiger person. That's a 10. That's a 10 out of 10. I love King.
10. You know it, man.
I love King. All right. All right. That's that. Why don't we get to the super chats? The rest of those real quick.
Sure. From RJ, a whole bunch of other letters. Your favorite chatter. Also, Kunitsugami should have been a Tron Bond game. Ooh, suddenly my favorite super chatter. With optional, they put Poe like Teletubbies in the middle of optional.
Oh no,
Poe skins. The person really likes Poe from the Teletubbies. Still a good one. I might give it a Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to be careful here.
Mitsugami is good.
Yeah, I want to be careful here because some people will somehow turn this into an English moment for me. But the kind of art style and the vibe of Path of the Goddess is one of the things that kind of like doesn't really do it for me. That sort of like super, I don't know, ancient Japanese
Yeah,
kind of thing. I don't know, it's very familiar in video games, and I don't know, it doesn't do a whole lot for me in this one.
Janceled.
Oh,
Okay,
God,
next
come
from
on!
from Hex Professor again.
You
Was
skip
thinking
one?
about it.
Wait.
That's the
Sean,
next
I
one
think
I
you
got.
skip. I think you missed one where like, hey guys, correctional. I mean, that was sliding on the previous chat. The one is a yellow one. Above the one that we just described.
Yeah.
Oh, and the one
picked
above
wrong
that too,
one
actually, from
from
Stinky.
RJ. Yeah. Okay, because I was seeing. Yeah, we left off on there. Okay, so Stinky said, "Nice Dan shirt, Mitch."
Thank you. It's my favorite shirt with Dan on it.
RJ also said, "Hey guys, correction. I'll admit I was lying on my previous chat. Kamala Harris wasn't sitting behind me. I am Kamala Harris. On day one, I will force Capcom to make Trombone featuring Poe."
Thank you, Kamala. You have that. This must be why Tay finally endorsed her, because of this promise right here.
You know what? Kamala Harris is a lot easier pronouncing her other name, so thank you.
There you
go. Hex Professor was thinking about next Switch is named Snap.
What are they going to name the Pokemon game for it?
Newer Pokemon Snap.
Newer Pokemon Snap.
Newest Pokemon
I feel
Snap.
guilty about new Pokemon Snap because I was one of the assholes like, they should make a new Pokemon Snap. And then they did. I'm like, well, I'm not buying it.
Well, there was a big problem, dude. There's a big problem with that game. It did not have the anime soul to it. Like, Professor Oak going, wonderful. Like, that was missing, dude.
I love those N64 games, especially Pokemon Puzzle League, just straight up having all that anime shit in there. Cause like, these are the assets we have. Put in a PNG from the VHS.
And you know what? We fucking loved it.
Oh, it's great.
George Green says, this is the second best video game podcast. The first being Game Exercise.
Thank you very much, George. Appreciate it.
Thank you, George. Original 8-bit, High Fellow, Y-Towner, and Mark Summers' Lost Child.
Shout out to Youngstown.
Does that mean anything to you? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. You don't know who Mark Summers is?
No idea.
Oh, you do look like Mark Summers' Lost Child. Double Dare. The Food Network. Yeah. Look up the Double Dare host. You look like Mark Summers. Yeah, that's funny. You have his hair. Let me put it up. I get it. I get the reference for sure.
Oh, from back in the day.
Don't look at a new picture of him. Yeah, you gotta find.
Yeah.
You gotta find an older one when he's youthful looking. Yeah, Mark Summers Double Dare.
That's more like Ben Hansen's dad.
You kind of look like Ben Hansen, though.
Am I Ben Hansen's kid?
Maybe you and Ben Hansen have like a lost ancestry or something.
Anyways, their question or comment. Thoughts on having the new Switch itself acting as a second screen and having the dock as a relay to the screen, the TV.
I think it'd be neat. I'm not counting on it. I'm not expecting it at all.
Yeah, are they going to Wii U the next system? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just going to be a lot like a Switch.
If nothing else, the tech there would be tricky. So I would say no. And then last one from Jacob Bench. Gaming?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Oh, one more.
Oh, one more from X Professor. Snap! Because of the magnets instead of rails.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense. I don't know. I think I think if they were smart, they would just go something, switch something. Like very clearly make it just, obvious that's a sequel. So like Switch 2.
I'm fully on board that it's just going to be Switch 2 train right now. We'll see. That's
I don't think
they'll
Wii U it and make the naming confusing. I think they will do something that is Switch, but the next ones. So like,
what
Super
if they're
Nintendo
cool?
Switch or Switch 2.
Yeah, exactly. What if they're cool if they go Super Nintendo Switch?
I think this is their hot take. I don't like that name. I don't think that'd be a good name. I think
you're wrong.
Well,
I don't care
I've
what
been
you like.
wrong before, but I'll tell you what. They call it the Super Nintendo Switch. I owe you a Coke.
There you go.
All right.
Good bet. That's it for now, Mikey.
Sean, I've been mostly just playing through that Castlevania Dominus collection. Been having a great time. I finished Portrait of Ruin, which is very fun. I liked the character switching mechanic on that one a lot. The only thing that threw me off in that game is Dawn of Sorrow was the one where they switched the art style to be like kids anime in an attempt to have it appeal more in Japan, actually. You still have that art style, Portrait of Ruin, and it's weird because the writing even matches it. It's like it's like a 4-kid Saturday morning anime writing style, and it's bizarre because
hell yeah.
pretty much all the characters you fight are either demons or naked women.
Hell
and then
yeah.
the main character's catchphrase is "no problemo" in
Yeah.
Castlevania. So tonally, it's a weird game, but it's super fun.
I've been rewatching the OG Yu-Gi-Oh, so I might be kind of in the mood for some of that for kids cheese a little bit.
Yeah, there's definitely plenty of it there. Order of Ecclesia, that's the last one. Now I started that one, and it's also very fun, taking itself slightly more seriously. The art style also is a bit better, I would say. This one's interesting. Portrait of Ruin did a little bit. It was like, oh, you go into these portraits, and now it's like, you're in a smaller map, but it's still a map. At least the first bit of Order of Ecclesia, it is like you're selecting levels, and yeah, they are kind of Metroidvania levels, but a bit more linear than you would even expect. It's not terrible, though, and at this point, the shakeup is fine. What I really like about it is that glyph system where you can equip weapons on the X and Y buttons, and you can actually kind of time it, so you can, like, bring them out in a combo pretty fast. It feels very satisfying. So the combat is about as good as any of these Metroidvania, Castlevania games has felt. So it also, people have said that Ecclesia is actually like a good deal harder than some of them, which is nice. I think a lot of these games have a reputation for being easy, especially if you abuse things like consumables. You can always just, farm gold and buy 1 million health potions, and then what's going to stop you, right? So I think bumping up the difficulty to compensate for some of that is a smart thing to do. How about you?
I want to get around to playing this collection because I played...
Good.
I'm not a huge Castlevania guy specifically,
Sure.
but I did play one of these games. I borrowed one of them from my friend for a weekend as a kid. I was like, these DS ones are really good. I should get back and play these someday. And so here we are, 15 years later. I should play some of those. Yeah, I've mostly been like I said, I haven't had a lot of time for playing games. I've been mostly playing Astrobot. Related to Nintendo, playing a lot of the Pokemon trading card game. I got to Arceus rank in Pokemon TCG Live, the highest rank on the
I was about to say, I assume that's a pretty high rank.
Yeah, it's the highest one. So just basically, playing a match or two a day for the past month or so, I got up there, and that's the first time doing that. So yay for that. But yeah, not a ton that's actually related to Nintendo. Like the MVC collection is very good. Been having fun. I played that with a friend a little bit. Played a little bit of arcade stuff. Checked out the museum and everything. That's just a really awesome collection. And unfortunately, I don't have first-hand experience, but I assume it would also be very good on Switch because pretty low overhead on the emulation on there.
It occurred to me I could talk about. I forgot. I played Mario Party Jamboree at PAX. I could talk about that now.
Oh yeah,
I could talk about that now. Which and hey, that was a pretty fun time. All right, it just really does feel. It feels, it's a new Mario Party, but it still is classic enough. Like, I'm somebody who really preferred Mario Party Superstars to Super Mario Party. But this one, it feels like a good balance between those things where, there's a lot of new stuff here, but it's still, again, that pretty classic Mario Party experience. Some of the new mini games were really fun. My favorite was the 2v2 game, where there's a giant stake and you and your partner on opposite sides of it with basically a big saw, and you need to try to cut the stake as perfectly in half as possible. and it's one of those things. It's like the Monster Hunter thing where the stake just looks like really high detail for some reason and really good.
Yeah,
so
they had that with the meat cube you flip in Super Mario Party, dude.
Right.
It's oddly high detail.
Exactly. So it looks fantastic. We got to do that 20 player mode, and that's fun where it's based on your
how's that work? Yeah.
It's you do the mini games, and it's each person's doing it kind of separately, or sometimes it's together, but it's depending on how well you do in it, that's how many places you move up. So maybe it'd even be collect as many coins as you can, and if you collect 20 coins, you move up 20 spaces, and kind of keeps track of how well you're doing. And then eventually it's Bowser's attacking, and then you're all on screen together. You're just trying to basically survive a kind of gauntlet of attacks from him.
So is it race to the finish, or is it going around the board collecting stars?
We didn't finish. I think it's more race to the finish. I don't think you collect.
Okay.
It's much more, just who's furthest along.
I'm really looking forward to
yeah.
this one. Playing it like with you guys and Dan, I think would be a really fun time. I really want to do that.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
it was so funny. Dan, Jeff, and I were there. I never heard Dan sound more like an actual game journalist than when he asked them, so what's the maximum number of turns in this video game?
This is his thing, man. This is his shit. He cares. This is like me or you talking about fighting games. Like we really want to know the details of this. Like Mario Party is Dan's thing.
The answer is 30, by the way. So
okay. You're safe from the 51.
I don't mind playing a 50-turn game of Mario Party. Like I'm not like some Mario Party sicko, but I have fun enough with Mario Party. I'll play Mario Party for 4 hours. I don't care. Whatever.
Maybe for 4 hours. Maybe the new ones I can see it, but the old ones that they go up to 50. That was crazy.
Yeah, the old ones don't have the juice, but the newer ones with better games and better presentation and everything. It would be a slog at the end there, but I could do it.
There's one more weird mode where I forget how many people it was, maybe like 8 or something, where you're kind of like running around and collecting bombs to shoot a cannon at a fake Bowser, and then you play mini games so you can get better items to help you collect more bombs during the round. That one was a little bit weird to parse. I think it's designed almost specifically for children who can't handle the competitive nature of Mario Party. So it's like a co-op mode. I don't know if you've ever played Mario Party with a child under the age of 7. They can't handle it. They cannot handle it. It's kind of incredible to watch. Like if you go on Boo and you target a child, that you may as well as just slap them in the face. They will not understand. Like they'll be like, why do you hate me? It's basically their response.
Yeah.
Why this life is unjust.
Yeah.
You'll learn today exactly at Justin Wong.
But yeah, it seemed very promising. I'm very excited for it.
What about Zelda? Do you have anything to say about that?
I think we did talk about Zelda before. At least I think
I was trying to remember if you and Jeff talked about Zelda yet at all.
Yes, at some point we talked about Zelda, and to reiterate though, it's very promising. It's more in that Breath of the Wild style than I was expecting in terms of being very systems based and kind of, interactions based, right? Like, okay, I'll catch this thing on fire and then that happens and I'll use this item to make this mechanic. It's a thing where you're thinking of creative ways to solve problems and not just trying to figure out the one way the game wants you to solve a problem. I was really into it. I did notice some of that kind of frame rate hitching or whatever, like the kind of transitioning to 60 to 30 FPS. That was an issue in the Link's Awakening remake. It's not going to destroy it for me or anything, but I know people have been asking about it, so I just want to say that I did notice it, at least in the build that I played. But no, I'm very high on it now. I can't wait, and that's soon. That's just a month, isn't it? That's wild.
I think so, yeah. I think it's just like 3 weeks away. It's somewhere on my calendar. Google Calendar doesn't want to cooperate. In 2 Thursdays is when that game comes out. In 2
Thursdays. Echo of the Wisdom is, coming out.
Yeah, it comes out the 26th. So
that's wild.
2 weeks on that Thursday.
That's good. So that'll give me time to beat Order of Ecclesia and maybe play some more Fields of Mystery on my ROG, and then I'll be ready for some more Switch gaming. I know it's not like the biggest release schedule for Nintendo the rest of the year, but I think both those games are looking pretty good. So I'm happy.
Definitely.
Well, all right then. How about we wrap this up then?
That sounds good, Mike.
Where's that music button? Here we go. It's playing now. You won't hear, but I do. All right. Thank you so much, Sean. Really appreciate you stepping in. I know it's been a lot of podcasting with me today. Probably too much for most people to handle, but I appreciate you sticking with it.
I like hanging out, chatting with you, Mike. We always
you.
have a good time.
We do have a good time. Like I said, there should still be a what is it called? Play Club tomorrow at our usual time.
Mike needs to go to bed, y'all.
Oh God, Game S decides. Jeff will be back for that on Thursday.
Yes.
We'll figure out. Probably
something. Talk a lot about his opinions on PS5 Pro and stuff.
I think I need like an actual vacation soon. I think I'm gonna have to do one of that.
I do
take
too,
some
Mike.
time
like
off
as a contractor, I've never had a vacation since working at Giant Bomb, so it's been like a year and a half.
Sure.
Just go. So you just take some time off. I can't do that, to be clear, everyone.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to my dad. I was like, remember when I used to be lazy? I miss that. All right, bye everybody. Talk to you later.
Come on, go cruising. Let's go cruising. I'll beat it first.
A lot of cores going into slots.